field, making sure that everything is on point. Like this team just stays on point. Get a runner over to third, get a fly ball, drive him in. Create base running moves with outs, create runs with outs. The Padres over and over again continue to show just why they have established this offensive level.
I think that all those comments exactly right. I mean, they have just been showing their dominance, showing all the things that they have worked on since the start of the season, since spring training, to get themselves into this position where it looks like it almost looks too easy sometimes. Like, I mean, obviously yesterday in that heat and drenched in that sweat did not look easy, but it just seems like, I know we continue to say, oh, they're never out of it. They're never out of it. It never seems like it's out of their control. It never seems like it's too big for them. They're just the better team right now, and I don't say that in a way that's like, oh, they're feeling themselves or whatever. Like, they're a better roster. They're a better team than a lot of these teams they're facing. But so often we saw this year that last year we saw even with a better roster, they couldn't get it done, right? So they're locked in. They're as locked in as you can get right now. And not only did they win yesterday, they got some help from the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. Still a long way to go there, but it was nice to see them just be able to churn out that win. I mean, 3 lead changes yesterday.
Yeah.
This was one where you didn't just get the alert at the beginning of the game and then alert at the end of the game that they won. There was 3 lead changes. 6 different players drove in a run. That you had the full gamut, right? You scoring on a wild pitch, the sac fly, guys tagging, and double steals. You had all of the manufacturing that Mike Shildt loves with his team. And then you had Manny Machado going back-to-back again. I saw him make a comment, too. I think this was either in Kevin's story or the newsletter this morning. But he likes the humidity, he said. He likes it. It gets his body
he's from
warm.
Florida.
I'm like, really, Manny?
If you're a Floridian, I think you've at some point decided humidity's okay because you've lived in it so long that it's a rationalization that allows you to stay sane.
Yeah.
So you're like, no, humidity's good. I like humidity.
Exactly. He must, right. And isn't that such a fighter mentality too? You're like, I just tell myself I love it.
Yeah.
I go out there and I love it. I love that humidity. But no, I mean, look, back-to-back home runs on consecutive days. First time he's done that this season. Continues to look like he's getting stronger and even healing more from that elbow injury, which is a great thing for him at this point in the season. And I know we're going to have AJ Cassavell on later today. I mean, they just look like nothing's really getting to them. It's like, eh.
Well, it occurred to me last night that as we watch the team and then we kind of react and think about what we're seeing, that certain sayings pop into my head now, such as yesterday when this team ground out a win that by all accounts they could have lost. And we would have been in here this morning saying it's completely okay. It's a very normal loss. Look, Cease didn't have it. It was super hot. Dang it, Miles Michaelis. He's not great, but he got us. And, a late homer, Brian Hoying's human. We can't get mad. Like all of these things we would have said. Mm-hmm. But guess what? Grit Squad turned up again. And I thought to it myself. I was like, Grit Squad turned up again. Here's this team that when they're presented with situations that appear negative, they grind it out. I'm watching a 9-pitch at bat by Jake Cronenworth against left-handed reliever John King, and I will fully 100%, I'm putting my hand up, screwing up our robot camera, but I'll put my hand up and say it. I spent 8 of those pitches thinking to myself, not mad, but thinking to myself, isn't this Donovan Solano's at bat? Like, even if because I know they had a right-hander warming up, like, even if they do switch to a right-handed pitcher, isn't this kind of Donovan Solano's at bat here? The guy is Mr. 2 strikes, Mr. Clutch. Cronenworth's hitting under 200 against lefties with no power. Like, it's a season-long thing. It's too late in the year to be like, oh, well, he's in a little slide, but he's fine. No, he's hit under 200 against lefties all year. And boy, was Mike Shildt right. Was Mike Shildt right? Because he's established this pattern all year of sticking with his guys in adverse situations. He's batted Peralta against left-handers. He's batted Jake against left-handers. He's batted Jackson against left-handers. He continues to instill that trust, the type of trust that you would need in, let's just say, Game 4 of a division series with 2 on and 2 out against Alex Vesia, which was the last time we saw that. And right. Jake came through, hit it almost to the same damn place that he hit the ball off Vesia in the division series 2 years ago. And puts it down into the outfield, and delivers the game-winning hit. And again, it's not like, oh, I'm anti. Many managers make that move. And it's not a bad move to switch to your really good right-hander off the bench. But he's got this faith, and he's instilled it. And now in big moments, players are up with the confidence of understanding that.
Yeah, and then they feel like they have that trust from their manager, whether it's Solano or Cronenworth. I love that Cronenworth. It was great to see him come through last night. He did. He had such a great AB, a 9-pitch AB for the go-ahead run in the 7th, scored a rise, hit it to the gap in center field where there was nobody there. He kept fouling pitches off until he found that one that he liked, and he was able to get the hit on. But it just shows kind of these tough at-bats that they're taking and the way that they're battling at the plate. Cronenworth's team-leading 13th game-winning RBI, which I didn't realize, but good for Jake Cronenworth in that category. And it was cool for him to see. And then you had Manny Machado, too, who had the 9-pitch at-bat also for the solo home run, so he was grinding that one out. He had the terrific plays on defense, the one that he called luck when the ball kind of bounced off his glove and fell into his bare hand, and then he still threw it across the diamond. And the umpire said to him afterwards, oh, that had to be half luck. And he was like, damn right it is. It's half luck, but I still got it, right? And then the one to end the game was tremendous as well, something we've seen Manny do so much. But Mike Shildt talked about that Cronenworth at-bat at the end of the game and said, look, it's a little gamesmanship too. He knew the pitcher had just pitched, sat down, came back out,
Yep.
versus if you bring Solano in, you're going to get a guy fresh out of the bullpen. And there was the next guy, I forget his name, Kit something, K, starts with a K. He came out and he faced Machado in the next batter. So a little gamesmanship there, and it paid off, right? I thought also Arise had that productive fly out in the 9th. That was big, brought Mason McCoy to 3rd. Then he was able to score on the wild pitch. He wouldn't have been able to do that without Arise bringing him to 3rd. But the Cardinals were fighting back. Like, I thought the Cardinals were fighting back. They had the bases loaded. Twice against Cease?
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't
absolutely.
bring anyone in.
Yeah.
They are struggling with runners in scoring position. They are struggling on offense, but I mean, they got their hits in. They just could not drive guys in.
Down 2-0. Manny gets up there, gets 2 strikes, gets to a full count. Miles Mikolas is one of those guys that will not give in. He walks fewer than 2 per 9 innings. And for 4 pitches, Miles Mikolas hit paint. He hit paint on the outer edge. He hit paint on the outer edge. He hit paint on the inner edge. He hit paint on the top right corner. Foul, 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 foul. Manny spoiling pitches, keeping things alive, taking the borderline, and finally Mikolas tries to throw a splitter. He hangs it, and bam, home run. Machado, who since June 19th has an OPS over 950 for the San Diego Padres. And I said it yesterday, and I'll keep saying it. There's a lot of folks that owe Manny a little bit of an apology for looking at the first 2 months. And listen, you should be forgiven. You should have that apology, but also be forgiven. For 2 months, Manny Machado looked like, oh no, player on the decline. But the reality is, and we now know this for a fact, he was playing with the type of injury that would have kept 75% of big league ball players on the injured list, and they would have had every right to be on the injured list. Manny plays through stuff that most teams will not let their player play through. And as a result, he put up a 600 OPS for 2.5 months, and his defensive numbers weren't what they're supposed to be. But look at who the man is now. Mm-hmm. You paid for a superstar. You've got a superstar in the middle of this lineup. Yeah,
and it's important to point out, too, that his elbow is not entirely healed. It's just getting better, right? It's healing. It's probably going to need this full offseason of rest to get to really where he wants it to be, which maybe could set up what could be a really great next year for him. Because remember last year, too, he was playing with that injury. So he didn't really get to play like free Manny Machado last year because he had the injury, then had the surgery, now came back, like Craig said, earlier than most people would, probably 2 months earlier even than most people would. And it's continued to heal. But as he continues to play more third base, as he continues to be in the lineup more, believe me, that elbow is barking. That elbow is not always great for him, but he's playing through it and he's doing really well. So just kind of tells you, to a guy going through a big surgery like that, you got to give it some time. You got to let him work through it. And Manny Machado certainly has. And he's getting hot at exactly the time that the Padres have needed him to get hot, and continues to be the straw that stirs this Padres drink.
And then I'm watching this game and I'm seeing a double steal between Mason McCoy and Luis Arraez. I'm seeing sac fly, Profar right when the time is right. Seeing wild pitch in the ninth inning, top of the ninth inning, McCoy right on it to be able to jump, takes the extra base. And what do I think about after the game? Winners find solutions. This was a winners find solutions game. This was the kind of game that many less engaged ball clubs would happily write off, dare I say, alibi. That this was
You've used all his phrases.
I've on purpose.
You're getting them all in. Okay.
On purpose. On purpose.
Okay.
That, hey, not our night. Not our night.
Yeah.
Tough night. But this team looks at this type of situation as if they're the kind of club that gets together spontaneously and before series for ball talk, to get together and talk scenarios, to get together and talk about the team. A culture that was instituted by Mike Shildt. It's his calling card. It's the thing he brought from St. Louis that was uniquely his and not just out of the Cardinals way, yearbook or whatever they hand out over there in that organization. And I see the drip, drip, drip byproduct of ball talk in games like this, where they just make the smart baseball play 5 or 6 different times in a game, and it winds up being enough to win.
Yeah, the base running is a huge thing for them. And the base running is something that's going to come in handy should they make the postseason and go deep in the postseason. I mean, there's not teams that work on those fundamentals as closely. There's some, I'm sure, but that trust themselves and trust what they've kind of been doing all season long to be in those big moments and then be able to still do a double steal or, create some kind of pressure on the base paths that just gets the pitcher a little bit out of whack and puts them in line to score a run. I mean, the only run that they had with a home run yesterday was Manny's. You had to figure out a way to score all these other runs, and they did every single time they were able to kind of small ball or manufacture those runs in, and that is good baseball. I mean, that is the kind of baseball that will wear a pitcher down and will continue to just death by 1,000 paper cuts, just continue to kind of put you on the ropes, more and more, and they have so many different ways of doing it now that you really can't protect against just one. I mean, you're like an offense in football that has several ways to get the ball down the field, and your defense is going to do the best they can, but they're going to get thrown off every once in a while. They're not going to be able to protect against all of them. So, I think it's just a really good indication of what Mike Shildt said at the beginning of the season, which is he wants to set his players up. I'm going to mess this up. I don't have his exact phrasing that he uses, but. Championship players make their own decisions, or it's something like that. Championship players, make their own calls on he is setting them up where that's why they have the green light all the time or whatnot. He wants them to make their own decisions, fail when they fail during the regular season, learn from it, and then be able to make their own decisions in the playoffs. Championship players, whatever. It's something about making their own decisions. So that's the thing. I mean, you're setting them up to get into the playoffs, or should they get in, which it looks like they will, to make these kinds of decisions instinctually, smart baseball playing, and that could be the difference in those games.
How many times this year have you watched a Padre player have a 6-7 pitch at bat, strike out, walk back to the dugout, the next hitter's walking by, and they stop and they talk ball? I saw it again last night. I saw it Sunday when Cronenworth gave some type of tip to Merrill right before Merrill hit the homer on the pitch that Jake struck out on. I was very willing to just write in those words like, look for the slider on the back door. He's trying to throw the slider on the back door. But this team is always communicating to one another. Going back, I've seen it from so many different guys. It's not just like 2 guys, Arraez and McCoy, and then Arraez to Profar, and then Profar to Cronenworth, and down the line they say, hey, take a look for this, watch for that, here's what he just did. And that level of togetherness, that level of connectedness is championship caliber. No matter where this year finishes, this team has been stitched together to a championship caliber where they can win it all. They've got what it takes to win the whole enchilada. Not many teams, including several good teams, have this level of connectedness. Will it be enough? We won't know because you're going to play 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 7, the types of series that anyone can win at any time. But if I'm going into a short series, I want the team that's locked in and together and playing as a unit, and that's this team.
Yeah, and I know we're going to go to the break here, but the way that they do it, the RBI groundouts, the sac flies, it's very unselfish. Like they'll get the hits, they'll get the home runs, right? But when they need to get a run across, they are not afraid to sacrifice their own plate appearance to move a guy over or to just get what they need to do to be able to put themselves in a better position to score a run for the next guy who's coming to the plate. So I think that that's kind of like, a lot of guys I feel like can say that and you kind of do that, but you worry about your own numbers. You worry about what are you going to look like at the end of the season. And like Jake said, Jake Cronenworth said it last week, the numbers aren't pretty, but it gets the job done. It's a team win, right? And that's what we want at the end of the day. So just everyone buying into that mentality has been huge.
Grit Squad showed up. Winners found solutions. No alibis allowed. A lot of ball talk. It all added up to a huge win for the San Diego Padres. A 7-5 win for the Padres. Braden just looked this up. Last time the Padres won a series in St. Louis, period, full stop, was 5 years ago.
Wow.
2019. Last time the Padres won 3 out of 4 in St. Louis, 2005. They've only won 3 out of 4 in St. Louis 3 times in franchise history, the last being 2005. So you can take that to say quite plainly they've never swept in 4 games at Busch Stadium. And today, Joe Musgrove has the ball looking to take 3 in a row in St. Louis, take the series, take the 4-game series, and set up a potential sweep on Thursday morning. Well, with all of those code words being tossed into the opening segment, take a wild guess where we're going with the next segment. Is Mike Shildt the National League Manager of the Year? Is he? Let's talk about it when we come back. Annie and Elsten underway. We roll till 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Back with you on Annie and Elsten, celebrating 2 straight over the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. And, we got a little bit of a Braden analysis there, a Braden research about the last time we won a series in St. Louis, 2019. But, Braden, you were just going through, like, the all-time log, and it does bring out a flood of memories of just how dominant St. Louis has been over San Diego over the years.
Yeah, the Cardinals have had the Padres number for the most of existence, as you mentioned yesterday on the show. But if you look at this kind of stretch from September of 1999 through July of 2003, the Padres lost 24 of 26 games to the St. Louis Cardinals, including a streak of 11 straight in which they lost the last 2 games against the Cardinals in September of 1999, and then went on to lose all 9 games against the Cardinals in 2000. Started 2001 off on a good start with the Cardinals. They won 5-2 in St. Louis and then lost their next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games before getting another magic win and then losing another 5 straight to get you the 24 losses in 26 games to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wow.
And Ben and I were doing the pre and post game show for like all of those except for the 2 in 1999. So I felt this intimately. Every time you saw the Cardinals just in their white with the 2 birds on the bat, you just were like, okay, we are in such big trouble right now. And I was just saying during the break as he brought it up, because I remembered when I was in college, the very early 90s, and Braden found it. It was 1991, right? That the Padres actually beat the Cardinals 8 times in a row.
They beat them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They beat them technically not 8 straight to finish 91. And that was the most wins that they have ever gotten in a single year in St. Louis. They won 5 of 6 in St. Louis, and then they won the first game in 92. So they won 9 straight ball games against the Cardinals.
Yeah, so I remembered that as like this one brief time, and that was when I was young to San Diego. I'm like, oh, well, maybe the Padres own the Cardinals. No, the other way. 24 of 26. And within that time, it was in August of 2001 that Kevin Towers made a trade that he later described as one of the trades he regretted the most in his career and in his lifetime, which was he traded starter Woody Williams to the St. Louis Cardinals for outfielder Ray Lankford. It was a 1-for-1 challenge trade, Williams for Lankford. And Woody was not he was definitely considered the ace of a young staff at that time, but considered the ace in the way that you consider the top pitcher on a losing team an ace. You know what I mean? Like
like the World Series ace, but
but the best we've got.
Serviceable ace,
yeah,
right.
The best we've got.
Yeah.
For example, in 2000, Woody Williams on a losing team went 10-8 with a 3.75 ERA. But the year after that, in 2001, he was pitching to a near 5 ERA, 4.97, when he was traded for Ray Lankford. He immediately went 7-1 the rest of the year for the Cardinals with a 2.28 ERA, and then proceeded to have a 2.53 ERA the next year, and the next year went 18 games and pitched 220 innings. He became the Cardinals ace, and he just drilled San Diego every time the Padres faced Woody Williams. He would just shove. Meanwhile, Ray Lankford, who was a really good player when he was young with the Cardinals, came to San Diego and was a complete dud in every sense of the word.
He didn't want to move.
No, he was terrible on the field. He was terrible off the field. He was quickly and happily forgotten, and except by Kevin Towers, who regretted that move the rest of his life, honestly, because Woody Williams was a gamer. He was one of those guys, whether he had his best or whether he had less than his best, he was going to give you everything he had.
Yes.
So a big loss.
You guys are valuable
For San Diego. But he was a winner. Oh, also in that stretch, by the way, the weirdest no-hitter I've ever seen in my life. September 3rd, 2001. Bud Smith. Bud Smith was this slender lefty, just those, 90, little change up, little breaking ball, came through the minors like, oh, yeah, we've got this guy, Bud Smith. He's done okay. Bud Smith was just okay. He was just okay. But in 2001, and we were there, the Padres got no-hit twice in 2001. The first was really, really, really memorable as A.J. Burnett of the Marlins, walked 9 and hit a batter, including breaking Bubba Trammell's hand when he hit him, and somehow found his way to a no-hitter.
That's incredible.
Yeah, he was so incredibly wild, effectively wild. Bud Smith was not that. Bud Smith, who his lifetime career record was 7-8. Okay. 7 wins.
He was just Bud Smith.
7 wins.
Trotting him out there.
But he, on one day, throwing 134 pitches.
Oh, my gosh.
He twirled a no-hitter against the Padres. And I'm telling you, Annie, it was because I was there. We were there in our seats, Ben and I, for the whole game. It was the least remarkable thing I'd ever watched. And I had never watched a no-hitter in person. We had been there for the first 6 innings of the Burnett no-hitter, and then we had to go back to the studio.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, I've never watched a no-hitter in person. I thought it was going to be the most magical thing. And it was just like grounded to short, grounded to short, grounded to second, lazy fly ball, like no dramatic hits, no like whoa
diving plays,
right, line drive catch, or the tip drill where it goes off the center fielder and it's caught by nothing, just like doo 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 boo doo boop doo 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 bada boop, and then the game was over and like, did we really just watch that? Did we actually just watch that? Yeah, he 3.83 ERA that year. Next year, ERA of 6.90. Never pitched in the big leagues again.
That one shining day, though.
Still there. Type in Bud
Gets
Smith.
To tell all his grandkids about it. The day he pitched a no-hitter.
Right?
Was that like a late September game?
September 3rd. Dog days times a billion.
2 teams not going anywhere, probably.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals were good.
Cardinals probably
yeah,
were.
Cardinals were good.
Okay. Yeah.
But just
they probably already had it locked up, the Cardinals.
so just the weirdest, most lackluster. Like there was nothing you could say afterwards. Like, wow, he really dominated. No, it just really kind of just the ball just went to guys, and that was it. But yeah, that was the story of these two teams is crazy. So
yeah, a lot of history there, a lot of history, and you've just really never seen it go in this for this generation at least. The Cardinals have dominated still, and that place has been packed.
It isn't packed anymore.
It isn't. I'm going to give them a little benefit of the doubt yesterday that there was like a heat advisory and they were told to stay inside. I mean, you saw those people in the stands fanning themselves, and I mean, it looked miserable. So I'll give them a little bit there, but it doesn't sound like they've had fans anywhere near the amount that they have had usually. And even still, they're not out of it. I mean, it looks bleaker for them every day.
Honestly, the Rockies games looked equally well attended with equal passion. Yeah. To be honest, it just felt like a big nothing burger out there. And maybe it was too hot, like you said. Maybe it was too hot to feel anything other than hot.
Maybe a combination of that.
Yeah, but
it's hot, and we don't think they're going to win.
But winners find solutions, and the Padres are the winners. And I want to throw it out there, and then let's take a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about it more because we kind of got into a little mini Padre Cardinal history there. But I feel like it's not anywhere close to a guarantee that he'll win it. I think there's 2 other guys who have great cases that could absolutely win it. But what Mike Shildt is doing this year, no matter what you think, and I've said plenty about what his press conferences, how he handles his interviews, how he handles things along those lines. I don't care. I truly don't care. He has instilled a winning culture that is infectious. It is engaging. It's entertaining. It makes you feel so good as a fan to watch the game, to have it be 2-0 and just be like, yeah, who cares? Let's see what happens. Let's go. Because this team has that mentality. And it wasn't there last year with a much higher priced roster. It wasn't there. It's there this year. I know there's some vagaries. We need to give the players a lot of credit. That's what he would do himself. But I want to say on the radio, I think Mike Shildt's the NL Manager of the Year. I think he is. I think he's done the best. I think the job he has done is remarkable. I think it's one of the best I've seen. Just seeing somebody for the first time. Or remember, a guy who came here, never winning less than 90, or winning less than 90 games. All of his teams, 90 games. He had 1 Manager of the Year. And then he left St. Louis. What happened? We don't know. Oh, whoa. Controversy. But I see it. I see why he won this award before, and I see why he could win it again.
Yeah, I think that there's as good an argument for him as anybody. I mean, be very difficult to not have him in the conversation. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you in this room. We can go through maybe a few others that might be looked at from the outside, right? As, okay, should these people be considered? But you got to include him in the conversation. It is kind of an organizational award. He should get the credit. Credit goes to also AJ Preller. It goes to the front office. I mean, it's kind of one of those awards. It's like, I feel like it is a little bit organizational, like you mentioned, the players, but he very much is a huge part of it, no doubt about it. And the award is called Manager of the Year.
Yeah.
So,
hey, AJ Preller is in line to win Executive of the Year. He absolutely is. He has never had a better year in his career. Yeah. Everything he's done has turned up roses this year. But I think Shildt deserves it. I think there's a big, strong case for him, and I think we kind of tried to make that case in the first segment. I think yesterday, if you had to submit a resume tape for Mike Shildt, I would pretty much turn in yesterday's game and just say, take a look at this game. When your ace is faltered, when you've fallen behind twice, when your key reliever gives up a home run late, and you adverse weather, adverse everything, everything against you, and you find a way to win, and you win it the way you want it.
I mean, you could argue like Torey Lovullo, but they went to the World Series last year. They were, you could also say on the other hand, well, they're expected to be good. They're expected to continue doing what they were doing, I think if the Braves continue their ascent, he might make a case for Snitker, because of the amount of injuries that team has had. That is if they continue their ascent. We don't know that. Who else beyond that would be?
I think the one we haven't talked about is the guy I think has the strongest case, and that's Milwaukee's Pat Murphy.
That's
because
right.
Here's a team that lost their highly regarded manager to their rival on a cost move, right? Craig Counsell leaving Milwaukee to go to Chicago. That was supposed to be a huge blow to the Brewers as his bench coach, Pat Murphy, the guy who flamed out here in 2015.
The interim manager here.
Right. I don't think a lot of people, although Pat Murphy had some endearing qualities, I don't think a lot of people saw the end of 2015 and said, there's a manager for a big league team. It was a lot more of, that's a college manager that's out of his depth in the big leagues. But Pat Murphy saw his franchise trade their ace pitcher, Corbin Burns, and lose Brandon Woodford to injury for the entire season. Yeah. Woodruff. And still, they are 2 games out of the best record in all of baseball. They're winning the NL Central in a walk. Christian Yelich is hurt. They have had all kinds of maladies, and they're still 20-plus games over 500. So, to me, Pat Murphy is like an easy call on a national side, and I could see Lovullo and Shildt split votes out of the West.
Sure, absolutely.
And then Murphy winds up getting it. But I tell you what, Pat Murphy was there in Milwaukee for years. He was there as the bench coach for years. So the culture was already there. He picked up a baton in a relay race that was already started. Torey Lovullo's been there for years, and he has established his culture in Arizona. But Mike Shildt came into a brand new situation. He was in the organization.
I would argue he learned a lot from the mistakes that happened years prior.
Sure.
And that shifted a lot of, I think, how he approached this year.
And that's completely fair. But still, he was in the background. He was in the wings. He wasn't the leader of the group.
Correct.
And when Bob Melvin was sent out and Shildt was installed, not a lot of people looked at that as a downgrade. One of my national writer friends said, this is the single biggest managerial downgrade all year, is going from Melvin to Shildt. And I wrote him back that day and said, I think you're wrong about this. And now I know I was right at the time. And it's not necessarily a diss on Bob, who's stuck in 500 hell again. But this guy changed the culture. He did it. He said he was going to do it. And that's the biggest thing that endears me to Mike Shildt, is everything he said in February, he has consistently applied month by month by month, to the point that here I am on the radio saying all his silly little aphorisms. Because guess what? They're real. This is a grit squad. And they are winners that find solutions. Like, they've proven it to me. So I can't help but tip the cap to Mike Shildt.
Cole in the chat asks, how is Manager of the Year voted on? It's the reporters, Baseball Writers Association of America. BBWAA, they get to vote on this one. And I think that's that can be the difficult thing sometimes. Like, we see it, right? Day in and day out, what a change that this has been and how great of a job Mike Shildt has done. But you also have maybe people who would say the same thing about Torey Lovullo or would say the same thing about Pat Murphy or, so it's definitely one of those things at the end of the year that they will probably reach out to some of the beat writers who cover these different teams and say, hey, tell me about so-and-so or why should this guy make it or whatnot. And it's a little bit of subjective award, right? But 100% Mike Shildt should be in that conversation, if not winning it.
And I see Jorge in the chat that says, hey, what about Dave Roberts as a whole all-star team on the injured list, has the best record in base? Your team spent $1 billion. Sorry, you're disqualified. Period. Spend $1 billion on your roster. You're disqualified. You're supposed to have the best record in baseball. You're supposed to have the best record in baseball with half the team on the IL.
Yeah, where the Padres cut $100 million from their roster.
Yeah.
I mean, their payroll.
That's that.
Yeah,
sorry about it. You're getting that from San Diego. Someone in LA can make that case for Dave Roberts. You're not going to hear it here. Ben might make the case, but we're not going to make it in this day part. Okay, let's take a time out. When we come back, plenty more Padres talk to come. AJ Cassavell at the top of the hour as well. We'll get a look at where the hunt for October race stands today. Again, it was a great day to win a game yesterday as the Mets run roughshod in Arizona and the Dodgers lose a squeaker in Baltimore. We'll talk about all that as we continue right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:48 on the Fan. Padres and Cardinals at 4:45 today. Musgrove versus Palante. Should be a good one. It's going to be hot again. It's going to be nasty again.
UC Irvine anteater Palante.
Palante,
Rip him.
who had been in the bullpen for them for years, but I guess they've stretched him out to starter
Yes,
now.
they've stretched him out. My buddy played with him in college.
Good for him.
Got the scouting report on Palante.
Palante.
Palante. Facing a right-hander, I like our chances.
Not the sharpest
see.
tool in the shed, but the guy sure has some stuff.
I was really glad we beat Miles Michaelis yesterday. I mean, like, really glad. I don't know what really bugs me about him, but something really bugs me about him.
Have we broken the former Padres destroying the Padres curse a little bit?
Just a little bit.
I think a little bit. It's
At
not
least a
as
little bit.
blatant anymore.
Right, I would agree.
I can't remember the last time we jumped on the show and we're like, God, that gosh darn former Padre.
Right.
I mean, good thing they didn't have to face Chris Paddock. That could have been a rough. That could have been
Relentless.
rough.
Could have been. The lion's mane could have been flowing that day. But, yeah, no, it was a great result yesterday for San Diego. Looking to make it 3 in a row today. Mike Shildt making a case to be NL Manager of the Year. And once again, this team coming up with creative ways to win. And one thing that I have brought up regularly, so I want to bring it up when it goes the other direction, is that Tanner Scott didn't just pitch back-to-back. He pitched back-to-back-to-back. Pitched 3 straight days.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the bullpen because they did a good job. I mean, it was Hoeing, right, that led up, right, the home run. Goldschmidt, what are you going to do, right? I mean, he's still a good player. I know he's not having a great year. But Estrada, it took him 8 pitches to get 3 outs. Tanner Scott, back-to-back-to-back, like you said. I think Jason Adam in there. I'm missing
Matsui
someone.
pitched. Adam pitched setup for Scott.
Yeah, so the bullpen did a nice job.
It was tremendous. And everything up until Scott was expected, so to speak, because I thought, and I think you thought, and everyone thought, Scott and Suarez would both be down after they both had gone back-to-back.
I definitely thought that. And especially also, you have to take in the heat consideration.
Yes.
You have to take in the travel consideration.
All of it.
I mean, you're going back-to-back-to-back from San Diego to 2 in St. Louis.
Right. So when that bullpen camera came on yesterday and they showed Scott warming up, I was like, whoa. And then when Mason McCoy scored the insurance run, I was texting with my hot tub buddy Chris Reed, and I said, that's the winning run right there, because I thought there would be some give up. Not give up in terms of your mentality, but I thought that there would be some traffic on Scott pitching for a 3rd consecutive day. But to his credit, and going against what the numbers have been this year, he has been effective. And did he give up contact? Yeah, he gave up contact. It wasn't the strikeout performance that we've seen from Tanner Scott before, but that's picking nits. Dude got through it 1, 2, 3, helped out at the end by Manny making his signature play against Arenado, no less. A play that Nolan can't make, that Manny makes every day of the week. Now, Nolan makes a lot of other great plays, but that play, that's Manny's play.
For sure.
And for it to end on that, absolutely brilliant. But again, I just tip the cap. Tanner Scott, back-to-back-to-back, got the job done. I wouldn't be stunned if he told Mike Shildt this afternoon, hey, I'm good for an inning if you need it. I would be stunned if they used him. But he got the job done. Amazing. Well done.
I want to say, who did this? Okay, Tom Krasvik, UT, wrote a column yesterday about how the Padres have the pieces to go deep in the World Series. But this was notable to me. Robert Suarez has exceeded his innings total of 2022. He's nearly doubled his innings total of 2023. So, again, another reason why Scott is so important. Yuki Matsui is 4 outs shy of last season's innings total in Japan, and we know that these have been a lot more intense innings for him. It's his highest in 3 years. You got to still find rest. I know that they've been pitching pretty well, but you still got to find rest for Michael King, for the way that you might maneuver Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish as they continue to ramp up, whatnot. Even Dylan Cease, I would argue, maybe you could try to find him a little rest when they have those 5 off days. But so that's your starting staff. But your bullpen staff, I mean, it just goes to show you, like, they have some tricky workloads that they will need to manage. And so far, like we talked about yesterday, everything is going their way. I mean, they're hitting on all of it. They're hitting on every guy not having a rubber arm right now. Their arms are all doing great, and knock on Formica on that, right? But they are probably going to need to manage it, and maybe you're working Tanner Scott even a little bit so that you don't have to work Robert Suarez, as much, and then you'll maybe trade off a little as you get closer to the postseason. But they are all getting kind of up to those innings limits, so it's going to be interesting to watch how they handle it.
Well, something I've also said on the show before, and I remember it seemed very contradictory because it was in a segment where I'm like, Tanner Scott operates better by his numbers historically if he gets a day off in between appearances. But I also said, this guy's a free agent. You traded for him as a rental. So I'm not thinking about the future of Tanner Scott if I'm A.J. Preller or Mike Shildt or even Ruben Niebla. Everyone's thinking about player performance and health all the time, of course. With that legal caveat, all I care about from Tanner Scott is performance and effectiveness. And if he can be effective throwing 3 days in a row, throw him 3 days in a row. If that check comes due in 2025, it'll be for the next team that signs him.
You just hope it doesn't come due in 2024 at some point, right?
Right. But if he's effective...
But they're monitoring all that. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what they're monitoring the numbers and the stats and the arm slot and the delivery and the velocity and the everything, the fatigue, all that, So hopefully they're, I would think that they're doing that to the best of their ability. But it was surprising to see. It was.
And it was good to see.
Yeah.
Hey, it was the second, twice in that game. I'm like, wait a second. Cronies, isn't that Solano's at bat? And then I'm seeing Scott. Wait a second. Shouldn't that be one of the other? Hey, got the job done. Outstanding work. When we come back, more Padres baseball. Our deep dive hour kicks off with AJ Cassavell joining us live from St. Louis. So stay right there, Padres fans. It's Annie and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Time for our Padres Deep Dive Hour for a Wednesday. Welcome back, everyone. It's Andy and Elsten, your midday hang on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Annie Heilbrunn, Craig Elsten, Braden Suprenant all together in our Odyssey studios. Hour number 2 of our 4-hour get-together today. Gwen and Chris join you for an hour and a half, and then it'll be Sam Levitt, Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show, 3:45, first pitch 4:45, Padres and Cardinals. It was a steamy one yesterday. Padres pulled out the win. We head out to the Archways, was it Gateway City? I think that's the official name of St. Louis, where we are joined by the great A.J. Cassavell from MLB.com, been covering the Padres for so many years, and joining us from the road today on Annie and Elsten. A.J., thanks so much, buddy. How you been?
Hot. It has been as hot as everyone has said, as everyone is saying it is out here. It's been pretty brutal, but good baseball to watch anyway.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for the time. I read your gamer yesterday evening, and it, provided some inspiration for the start of the show as well. Just the way this team continues to attack its job. It has impressed me on so many levels. And yesterday, the quality of at-bats being taken for a team that was trailing multiple times in the game absolutely deserved to be the root of a game story.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think when it goes one way, when it goes one direction against the Padres, they seem to be able to fight back from it. But when they get a lead, they just never give it up because their bullpen's been as good as it is and because their offense is as relentless as it is. It's kind of what you want out of a baseball team. And I would say, I don't know if they're the best team in the league. They certainly have a case in the second half as the best team in the league based on the record. But they have to be the most frustrating to play against because if you're going to beat them, you're going to have to use everything you've got to put them away. Some of these at-bats, some of these 9-pitch battles, it just must be exhausting to face the Padres lineup right now. And I think that's probably a good identity to have come October, because in October, you're going to be challenged. You're going to face some adversity. And the fact that the Padres have faced that adversity and have shown a pretty great deal of resilience, I think it bodes well.
Yeah, for sure, Cass. A great point. And I love what you wrote the other day about how the dog days really aren't affecting them. And honestly, I've been surprised at that. It's, what this time of year is like. It's late August. It's hot. I mean, it looks miserable, really, where you guys are. You can expect just a little bit of kind of, a hardship a little bit for some of these players at this point in the season, but they really haven't shown it, no matter if they're at home or on the road. What have you seen in terms of that?
Yeah, I'll let you in on a secret. I wrote that story because the dog days were getting to me. I was hot in the press box, and I had traveled that morning, and I was exhausted. And then the Padres were just out there kicking butt and acting like it wasn't the middle of August, the middle of 18 games in 18 days. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, how are they doing this? Like, this is not what a normal baseball team does. And I think part of it is the infectious energy from some of the guys. From like Jackson Merrill and Jurickson Profar, you see what they've brought to this group and the way they kind of just enjoy playing baseball all the time. I think they might be leading the charge in that regard. But it's 1 through 9 in the lineup, and it's a pretty excellent bullpen. It's a pitching staff that's getting it done. I just think that they are enjoying it. I think Mike Shildt put it pretty well the other day after the game when I asked him that question. He's like, no one comes here and is like, I'm at work. Like, it's fun to be there. And as much as I love the numbers, as much as I love digging into analytics and which players have done what statistically, like after watching the 2023 Padres and the 2024 Padres, I'm starting to become convinced that the only thing that matters is vibes, and this team has the vibes, and last year's team did not.
Well, I'll take it a step further because I think we made an almost hour-long case in the first hour, AJ, before we brought you on, for Mike Shildt for Manager of the Year. And vibes is one way to put it. I'm going to use the word connectedness because what I see from this team is like key at bat after key at bat. A Padre strikes out, is walking back to the dugout. He doesn't have his head down. He's got his head up to talk to the next batter and say, here's what I saw. Here's what he did. They're having these conversations that feel like a natural extension of the Mike Shildt ball talk and having this spontaneous, holistic conversation about baseball situational awareness. This team now is as situationally aware as almost any team I've watched in my baseball loving life in terms of making the smart play, taking the base when it's needed, getting a ball in on a ground out, et cetera, et cetera. So that connectedness, that togetherness, yeah, it's vibes, but it's also, to me, the product of instilling a culture starting on February 15th.
Yeah, I honestly think like those are kind of two separate things. Like the vibes are what the vibes are, but also the Padres are very good at doing the things that need to get done to win baseball games, and the vibes might help that, but it's clearly more than that. They like Jurickson Profar's at bat last night, and I barely even mentioned this, but because the Cronenworth at bat and the Machado at bat, they were both so good. But the Profar at bat, he sees that they've got two bases stolen, and he lets the double steal go through and falls behind 0-2 in the count. And from there, he hits a sacrifice fly. I think he's situationally aware of what he has to do in that moment. And then he goes out and does it. And it's easier said than done. You need to have the type of players that can do it. I think the Padres have a lot of hitters who can do things situationally, which is a skill. And they built their offense with guys who are really good contact guys who don't strike out a whole lot. And with that kind of team, you can be situationally good if you emphasize it and if you hone it and if you make it a priority. And that's clearly what Mike Shildt did with this group, and it's paying off.
Yeah, and two guys who, like you mentioned, are all about good energy and good vibes are Profar and Jackson Merrill. And there was that cool moment yesterday where Victor Scott II completely robbed Jackson Merrill of extra bases and ended that third inning, but Jackson waited and wanted to give him a hug. And we've seen time and time again how much this guy just loves the game. He loves to respect good plays in the game and loves to just play baseball, right? What surprised you or what's impressed you the most about Jackson Merrill and what he's been able to do this year?
Oh, almost everything. It's like, and no one was like, I was as high as on Jackson Merrill as just about anyone, but when they stuck him in center field and said he was going to play every single day, like, that raised my antenna. I was skeptical of that. And it wasn't any knock on Jackson Merrill. It's just that's a really hard thing to do for a guy to play a position he's never played before in his entire life, and for a guy to sustain the grind of an entire major league season, because there's going to be ups and downs. I guess what has allowed him to handle that more than anything else, like obviously he's immensely talented, but I think there's a lot of really talented 21-year-olds who wouldn't have been able to handle it the way Jackson Merrill's handled it, because when he fails, which hasn't been often lately, but when he struggled, there were a few plays early in the season, and I know his slumps weren't that pronounced, but he had one or two here and there. He almost doesn't care about it. He legitimately only cares whether the Padres won the game that night, and he shows up the next day and he's already forgotten about the 2 or 3 strikeouts he had the day before because the Padres won the game and now he wants to go win the next one. And that I think that mindset allows you to thrive when you're going through tough times, because you're not even worrying about those tough times. Now, what he's done in center field, I think that's probably a better example, because he's learned so quickly on the fly that it hasn't fazed him in any way, shape, or form when he has made those mistakes that are few and far between. And I just think it's kind of spectacular the way he looks like he's a career-long center fielder already, and he learned the position 5 or 6 months ago. That's just not a normal thing.
AJ, to wit, I'd love to bring you in on a conversation we had on yesterday's Deep Dive Hour, because we spent about 2-3 segments going through some of the possible routes that the Padres in the future. I understand this is a future discussion that we're having today, but everyone wants Jackson Merrill to be a Padre as long as possible, and maybe for life, right? I mean, what we're seeing from this kid is incredible, and it doesn't feel like a flash in the pan. This is a franchise that has given out statute contracts in the past. It is also a franchise that has treated its rookies and its young players with great respect, as long as they aren't traded, in terms of bringing guys up to start their career, not manipulating service time, etc. We talked about a statue deal. We talked about a Corbin Carroll, Jackson Chourio style contract. We also talked about the benefits of letting a rookie contract play out and paying him the least you can for 2-3 years and then revisiting it down the road. Where do you lie in terms of what you think would be a prudent course for the Padres to take?
Well, I think like the obvious thing is you want to have Jackson Merrill around for as long as possible, because I think he has those traits that would lead you to believe this is sustainable for the long term. And like, he's only going to get better from where he is now, which where he is now is already pretty darn good. And I think his love of the game, his passion for it, his kind of understanding and ability to learn, and the way he influences the clubhouse, like all of those are reasons you want to keep Jackson Merrill around for as long as possible. That being said, like, there is some downside to paying a guy early when you have as much team control as you do for the next 6 seasons. There's a sweet spot in there, and I think the Padres would certainly like to explore that. I don't know how receptive Jackson Merrill is right now. I think obviously his focus in the here and now in the moment is on the current season, and so this is something that would have to come to fruition, I think, probably in the off season. We see these things usually get done in kind of later in the off season, building up to a season. But if Jackson Merrill would be open to that, I think there would probably have to be some sort of like, you can't just pay him free agent market value when you have a guy for the next 5 seasons under team control, because it's just not good business. But if he's open to whatever the deal ends up being, if it's a Corbin Carroll type thing, or even if it's a little more than that because he has that year under his belt, then I think you do what you can to keep him around for as long as possible, because he's that kind of winning type player.
Cass, we'll get into some champagne problems here, get a little ahead of ourselves probably. But, we always talk about, hey, for the Padres, it's just important to get in the race, right? Like, get into the playoffs. Anything can happen. But they are just a few games behind the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks are right there as well. It seems like it's anybody's race to grab for this last month of the season. Do you get the sense, and I don't know if you've even had a chance to have many conversations with players about this, but do you get the sense that the division is an important hill for them to climb and obtain that division championship, or is it just about getting to the playoffs, wherever it happens, let's roll?
I think the division is the goal right now, because there's nothing else you can focus on beyond that in the here and now, in the present moment. Like, you're not going to win the World Series by winning a game in August, but you can put yourself in position to win the division. And so everyone, Mike Shildt included, he was talking about this last year at the winter meetings, that his goal was to win the division. And this was right after the Dodgers were pretty locked in on Shohei Ohtani, and the Padres had traded Juan Soto, and it didn't look very possible at the time. Like, winning the division is a goal of the Padres, and I know that they set that organizationally at every level. They want their players to experience what it's like being in a race and trying to win the division. Now, I think they understand that if they don't win the division, there's a fallback, there's a path to the goal, to the ultimate goal that they want to accomplish. And if it means, if they have to rest a pitcher or two and it compromises their chances to win the division, but they can end up still winning the World Series, or at least making it into the postseason and making a run, like, they'll take that as the priority. But in the here and now, they're all focused on winning the division. And you'll hear different players talk about, we're focused on ourselves, we're focused on what we can do. And I'm gonna counter that by saying, like, to a man, they're all lying. They all are very keenly aware of what the Dodgers and Diamondbacks are doing every single night. It's on the TVs in the clubhouse. Granted, they are focused on themselves. They are doing what they need to do to prepare. Clearly, they're playing very good baseball, but their antennas are also tuned to what's going on with Los Angeles and Arizona. And this is fun. This is what a good baseball season is. It's when you got multiple good teams fighting it out for a spot in the postseason and for the advantage of winning the division and what comes with that. And I for one, sitting back and watching from the press box, I'm enjoying it. It's been really fun baseball.
Incredible stuff. And, of course, a lot of interesting additions to come for the San Diego Padres in terms of Fernando Tatis Jr. returning. Yeah, Annie?
I just have a question for him before we let him go.
Please, no, absolutely.
Okay, Cass, is the press box air conditioned or no?
The press box is air conditioned, but they also open the windows. And so they come around and ask us whether we want the windows open. And, like, I am very pro open window, generally speaking, yes, because I like the atmosphere of a ballpark. Like, it's hard for me I feel like I'm sitting in a cubicle if the window's closed because I can't hear anything else. But I think this is pushing my limits of that. And last night I did not open the window in front of me because it's just too much.
Makes a lot of sense. I was just curious. Thank you very much.
No.
Stay cool out there as much as possible, I guess.
But it was just such a great point in terms of where this season is, where the heat is, what's going on, and where this team just continues to roll. AJ, it's always a pleasure chatting with you, my friend. We can leave it right there, and of course, we'll chat with you again coming up in the month ahead as this team continues in a pennant race, a real, legitimate pennant race. This has been such a fun season to watch. I'm sure a fun season to write about, and enjoy today's game as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Cass.
Always a pleasure to chat with AJ Cassavell. Read everything he's got on
just
MLB.com.
Terrific job covering the Padres, and has seen many a years of not this kind of baseball. So he's got a good barometer of what it has looked like in the past and what it is looking like now and how different that is.
I mean, it's such a beautiful tapestry that's being woven right now. Ha-Sung Kim goes out. You have a couple of days going, oh, man, Tyler Wade's kind of struggling there. Is this going to be a real thing? Is this going to be a thing that for 2 weeks we go, oof, every day something's happening. We regret. Nope. Here comes Mason McCoy, 29-year-old rookie, 6 games experience his whole life. What's he doing? What's he doing? He's up there using the middle of the field, hitting balls to center field, hitting balls up the middle and to the right side, working counts, taking balls, fouling off tough pitches, getting on base at a 400 clip. Obviously not career sustainable, but he has popped up in the 2 weeks that they needed him to come up with 2 weeks of great big league baseball. And that's just what this connected team continues to do over and over again. Something falls, something rises to take its place.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, again, just hitting on these guys. Mason McCoy has slotted into this lineup, this roster, with the same mentality as these other guys. And yeah, he's being told that, but you can tell that's just how he plays the game anyways. He unselfish at bats, taking the walk when he needs to, really good, solid defense. And what a thrill this must be for this kid who had this amount of games with the Blue Jays, but never got to start, never had a hit while he was there. And now he's really been a part of these wins. I mean, you know, it's been great to see.
Just a team that continues to roll. When we come back on the Padres Deep Dive Hour, we asked AJ a little bit. He said it. There's a sweet spot for the Padres and for Jackson Merrill. Can they come to terms on something? Just kind of revisiting yesterday's conversation. Braden had a couple of great points, and it's also revisiting a previous segment called Debts and Obligations. Where will the Padres be at the time that Jackson Merrill's a free agent? I know it's a long way away.
It's a long
way away. It's a long way away. We'll have a much more immediate concern as well.
I'm going to be here in, are we all going to be alive?
2025 is not promised.
Right.
Tomorrow is never promised.
That was a little morbid. Sorry to take you down that road.
Go to break before I get depressed.
Jeez. All right. Oh, now I just all of a sudden feel a little tightness in my chest.
Stop. Go to break.
Okay. Am I okay? All right. Andy and Elsten on the Fan. The Padres Deep Dive Hour is brought to you by Frozen Ropes, baseball and softball training facilities. Now introducing the Freezy batting cage membership for just $79 a month. For more information, visit San Diego FrozenRopes.com. Annie and Elsten here with you. Annie Halbrin, Craig Elsten, Braden Suprenant. Loving the Padres talk right now. You know, it's a very different time. And I was talking about this to our Padres hot tub audience the other day, too, because very analytical, sometimes very nervous audience. You know, we experienced it in the radio audience, too. Everyone waiting for the other shoe to fall.
Yeah.
And it's like there's so much time in a long, long baseball season for analysis, for dissecting what a team is, what it could be, what decisions could be made, you know, all of the decision tree. But then a baseball, when you've got a good team, the baseball season crystallizes at a certain point after the trade deadline where this is your team. Mm-hmm. You're going for it. There's no more questions anymore. It's not, well, if the team's 500, but if they lose, then what? Oh, what about the future of this guy or that guy? What about this trade or that? No, it's just now we ride. And that's been our mode for a few weeks is now we ride. We've got our team, now we ride. Let's see where we can go. We can beat anybody. Nothing's promised. Nothing's guaranteed. We're on the ride. Let's see where the ride lands. And it's fun. It makes it a little more challenging from a content creation standpoint because you just can't show up with pom-poms every day and just sis boom ba your way through 4 hours. But it's also beautiful because really, I mean, what's the, oh, well, this guy's OPS plus is 95 and it should be 104. Let's go win the next game. Let's go win the next game all together now. And that's what this team is.
Yeah, and even when they're not putting forth, like sometimes it's an ugly game. You could argue there were parts of yesterday's game that I think players did say after the game were kind of ugly, right? But you get the win, and that's all that matters, and that's all it's about now. It's just counting W's, right? And when you're clicking the way they are, too, I think you get the sense of, okay, we're doing this and we're doing it consistently. We're doing it into September. We can do this into the playoffs. Like that time span shortens. It's not like almost a little harder, I think, if you were doing it in April and May, and it's like, it's great. You know, you can do it. You can have those big stretch runs like the Phillies had and the Yankees had and the Dodgers had. But then there's so much time that passes where there's maybe all that inconsistency. You wonder, how do we get back to that place again? Well, the Padres are opposite, which honestly, if you ask players in the clubhouse, they'd rather have it this way. Being your best as the season ends. We hear Mike Shildt say it all the time. Get better as the season goes. That's kind of where they're at. They've adopted that, and it's they've had a little luck along the way, but they've capitalized on that as well. And now they're kind of in this great spot where they're feeling good about the brand of baseball that they're playing.
Well, here's an example that's playing on the TV right above you of how it can be going the other way. What about a team that we saw to begin the second half of the year, the Cleveland Guardians? The Cleveland Guardians started the year a house of fire under their new first-year head coach, Stephen Vogt. They were 19-9 to start the season through 28 games. By the time they were just less than 60 games into the season, the Guardians were 20 games over 500. They were 39-19. They did put it all together in April and in May. They did keep it going through June and into July. And then late July rolled around and the wheels started to wobble a little bit. And then the deadline came and they didn't make the major acquisition. They picked up Alex Cobb off the Giants injured list. He made 2 starts. He went right back on the injured list for Cleveland. And now, today as we speak at Progressive Field, Bobby Witt Jr. has homered again, and the Royals behind Michael Wacha are winning 3-1, and Kansas City is now a few outs away in the bottom of the 5th inning from a 4-game sweep in Cleveland of the Indians to go a game up in the American League Central and to drop the Guardians into the wild card race, a place they haven't been since basically the second week of the season. So there are plenty of trajectories for a season, and I think the biggest key when you get to this time of the year is, do you have a team that believes in themselves, and do you have a team that has made those additions that added energy to your group, that brought a freshness and an energy to your group, because the Guardians are just rolling out that same team that they had on March 30th here today on August 28th, and maybe they're starting to wear down.
Yeah, the Padres got very much needed reinforcements that are really paying off for them. Probably, not even assuming they make the playoffs in the postseason, sure, but to get to the postseason, they're really paying off for them.
100%. So something to, just something to think about as I watch Kansas City continue to roll. By the way, Bobby Witt Jr. in most years would be a runaway MVP in the American League. Runaway. He's hitting like 420 for the second half.
Doing terrific.
I mean, it's crazy. Every day he gets 2 hits. Every single day. Look up Bobby Witt. He gets 2 hits.
The Royals have been fun to watch. I mean, they're having one of their kind of resurgent seasons, obviously, and they've been able to keep it going.
Lost over 100 games last year. They're about to be in first place on August 28th. I mean, it's one of the great stories of the year. You talk about manager of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's definitely in contention.
All right, brief point here. This is a follow-up to yesterday's discussion. As we talked about with AJ, we went in deep, and you can go find that on the podcast.
It's posted now.
Well,
The 11 o'clock
it's
is
worth
posted.
bringing up because somebody sent me a message on Twitter, too. This computer, you might remember if you listened to yesterday's show, the computer that Braden uses right now, I don't know what's going on with it. It's got all the cookies or all the gremlins.
Someone must be on the phone, just on a landline, just slowing the computer down.
Something is going on.
Bet you didn't think I knew that reference, huh?
But you did.
That's right.
But so
Remember those times?
as a result,
Someone's playing Oregon Trail somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
weird
Killing
things
us.
have been happening with the podcast. So I know there's some folks absolutely out there who listen to us via podcast. Someone messaged me like, dude, if it shows up a day late, I don't really want to listen because
Yeah.
it's yesterday's show.
I know.
I can understand that.
I totally understand
Yeah.
that. But we're a day behind. I just got the first 2 hours posted. I've started working on it since the beginning of this show, and I just got the second hour posted. That's how slow
Yeah.
stuff is
So
going.
the machine is cuckoo crazy.
Working on the sports fix and the NFL Eliminator to post right now, as a matter of fact.
So there you go. If you want now to go listen to yesterday's segment, you could. But here's something that Braden tacked in at the very end we couldn't get to yesterday, but I think is absolutely worth visiting because we talked about a 7-year deal, an 8-year deal, a 15-year deal for Jackson Merrill, or just wait. Maybe it gets a little more expensive as a result, but you get that flexibility for 25, 26, and 27. Yes, we're thinking way in the future right now, but this is the Deep Dive Hour. Jackson Merrill isn't a free agent until 2030. Is that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
It's crazy. But at that time, he'd be 26 years old.
Golly.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Not a free agent until 2030.
And
So
then
you've got all these seasons with him, and then
Yeah.
he's still just 26 years old.
26 years old, same age as Soto, same age as Harper was, same age as Machado was, going into free agency where you can make the biggest bucks possible.
Right.
So our idea, of course, was get him to a deal before that, wipe out that free agency number, and have him go forward on set cost for your team. Here's what the Padres have on the books for the 2030 season. It's crazy to know this, but it's true. Xander Bogaerts, age 37, $25 million. Manny Machado, age 37, $39 million. Fernando Tatis Jr., age 31, $36 million. And Jake Cronenworth, still there, age 36, still going to be there, 2030, making $12 million. So that is 4 players, Bogey, Machado, Tatis, Cronenworth, $113 million of payroll obligation for those 4 guys. So just imagine the world where you have signed Merrill to the deal that we want them to sign him to. That's going to be another 20-something, right, that year. And now you're talking about almost $150 million payroll for 5 players. Now you got to go get the other 21 guys for your team. So just something to keep in mind in terms of what those long-term deals look like way down the road.
Is Darvish
He's done.
He'll be done
Those
there?
are the
Okay.
only 4 players that are still left under contract. I would say from this perspective, Craig, that's the problem that you run into if you wait and he continues to play at a high level. Because in 2030, what's the mega contract going to be? From 6 years from now, is it $50 million a year for some guys? Like, are you gonna like? Let's just say
it's 60.
Right. I mean, is he gonna be like a $40 million a year player? You want to add another $40 million onto it, or would you rather give him the $15 million or the $20 million because you signed him super early, and now $15 million looks a lot like you're saving money compared to the other guys that you're paying a big contract to? And if you wait and just try to utilize the cheap stuff now, I don't know if you could sign Jackson Merrill to another $40 million contract.
Yeah.
We also don't know, like, what will the Padres, will they get into some new money? Will there be new money coming their way that we just don't know about, right? But certainly, like right now, I mean, they have quite a few debts that they need to pay off that they got from taking out loans over the last few years that, yes, every team takes out loans, but they did to an extent that MLB has kind of capped them. And this has been reported and said you have to pay back in terms of this percentage to what you make every year or whatnot. So we don't know, right? Like what will their new financial liberties be by then?
Plus, new collective bargaining agreement at the end of the 2026 season.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. So it's a brave new world. You don't even know. What will the structure be?
Luxury tax could be $300.
100%, absolutely.
You have no idea.
Absolutely. And what's the new media deal for MLB between here and there? Everything could change as a result. So, really, in 2030, that $113 million could be 30% instead of 55% of the salary of the team. You don't know where it's going to go. You do know that you've locked in a lot of money for players in their late 30s at age 30. So
and they're backloaded. I mean, that's a good point to show here. These contracts are backloaded, so they jump big time. I mean, Manny I forget what Manny's making this year. I think
17.
17. He jumps to $39 million by that point.
Yeah, he goes 17, 25, and then from 2027 on, it's $39 million
every year.
Toddy,
until
same.
33.
Bogart, same. Like everyone's jumping,
Yeah.
Bogarts is actually staying the same the entire time.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
He's
he's
25 all the way through.
Yeah, he's just
consistent. Okay, good to know.
straight line for
And then,
Xander Bogaerts.
and then Fernando gets up to the.
It's crazy to think that in
36.
2030, that they're all just still. I mean, it's amazing, but it's like it feels so far away. It'll be here in a flash, and I guess that is if you're looking to buy jerseys or anything, and you've got players. These players are all doing really well this year. By the way, you can rest assured that they will still be part of your franchise.
Hey, you know what? When they win 3 World Series in a row in 24, 25, and 26,
There you
those will just be the retirement tour for the next 4 years.
That's right.
Smile and wave,
made
boys.
a lot of money along the way.
That's
so,
right. Smile and
yeah.
wave. Hey, look, remember this team that was so dominant for 2024 to 2026? Everybody comes out to watch them play. Yeah, that's an ideal
And
world.
maybe Jackson Merrill will be part of that. I mean,
Yeah.
still
And then
31, 32, 33, 34.
And then you wake up, and then it's not reality.
You can absolutely contract Jackson Merrill long term. You can.
You can.
You just have to be nimble with the way you do things. And as long as you can continue to find another Jackson Merrill to come through your system every couple 3 years, right?
It's so easy.
We get an
It's not.
extra draft pick though.
But they
right?
have hit on, they have hit on giving the front office credit. They hit on Jackson Merrill, and who knows? That could be Ethan Salas. That could be Leo Dallas DeVries. That could be. I don't think it's going to be every guy they bring up from the farm, but they could have enough of them that are substantial. Like
What
that.
round draft pick do the Padres get if Merrill wins Rookie of the Year?
First.
First.
End of the first, yeah. End
Yeah,
of the first.
bang. There you go. It's a good way to supplement it.
That's another way to get it going.
Rewarding a draft pick for a thing that's voted on by media members seems kind of odd, but
Well, yeah, so is allowing an NBA player to get supermax extension instead of just maximum based on a writer's vote.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the keys to being eligible for a supermax is to be first team All NBA. That's voted on.
That's voted on, right?
So it's that's why guys like Zach Lowe
stuff the ballots.
spend 2,000 hours studying their vote because it has to be defendable, all the way up to the level of that super agent that you rely on for tips, saying, "Well, you cost my client X amount of dollars,
Totally.
X $100 million because he was second or third team NBA instead of first team.
Yeah, it's not just a award that you put up behind you, a plaque that you put up on, your shelf. It's actual financial obligations, right? Financial money, finances, money, financials. Okay.
Let's
It's a double.
boop, boop,
Oh
boop.
yeah, it just went downhill.
Let's take a time out. And when we come back, the Hunt for October, your daily update was a great day for San Diego and the Hunt for October daily update.
There's a team that we haven't been talking about that has a very, very easy schedule.
Atlanta.
No.
Oh.
We'll talk about that later.
When we come back, Padres Deep Dive Hour rolls on. It's Andy and Elsten on the Fan. Listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball, where Sam covers everything going on with the Padres. Find it at 973thefansd.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Andy and Elsten, Padres Deep Dive Hour, continuing to our daily Hunt for October update. It's great to be in this position. It's great to be in this position. Someone on Twitter just brought it up. I swear to God, I hadn't thought about it, Andy, but do you remember when our buddy on MLB Network, Brian Kenny, not more than just a couple months ago, had multiple segments in a week arguing very strongly that the Padres needed to blow it up,
Rebuild.
Start a rebuild.
get that rebuild going. Can't get it started soon enough.
Now, why don't they play that on MLB Network for Brian Kenny and have him respond to that?
I think it would be great.
I think it'd be great too.
I think the Padres social media account should do that.
Yes, I agree.
They should post the clip and tag him in it and be like, what about now?
Should they rebuild now?
I'd save the bookmark until the day that you clinch the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and say, hey, buddy.
What's the...
Knowing him, he's going to be like, they did rebuild. Arise, Cease, Tanner Scott.
Well, he talked about
Brian
that.
Hoeing.
They already had those guys on the team when he was
That's
bringing
true.
that up.
Yeah, that was early on.
Where's
they
the...
already had him, yeah.
That's like the meme with the goose that's just like, what about now? And then he's like yelling at like even more. I need that one. We need that meme going against Brian
But
Kenny.
really, I mean, that was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Rebuild?
Rebuild.
It was like May or something, or
Twen-
June.
We just told you about our contracts in 2030. Rebuild. Rebuild?
What's happening?
How are we rebuilding
And
again?
they weren't like tanking. They were still hovering around 500, yeah, but they weren't. It was like the Padres were the White Sox.
So crazy. Just so wild. Okay, so with that, what's going on in the standings? Yesterday, the Mets pummeled the Diamondbacks. And you know what? There's no reason not to root for the Mets each of the next 3 days. There's really no reason.
Love Grimace.
I've
They're
heard
a
some.
pesky little team.
They're a good team.
Yeah.
They're a good team.
They are.
And they might make the playoffs.
If they had a little better pitching, they'd be like really good team.
I agree.
Yeah.
If they had maybe 2 more relievers.
Right.
If they had maybe
If they
Jason
had
Adam and
Scott
Tanner
and-
Scott, they'd be a really good team.
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
They're a little short with Jose
Diaz.
Butto
Yeah.
and Adam Ottavino setting up Diaz.
Right.
They're a little short there. They're a little short on the pitching staff as well. You know, they don't have that ace. And they know that. But nonetheless, they're a pesky team.
They are.
And if they make the playoffs, odds are it would be in the 6 hole. And thus, if they made the playoffs, they wouldn't be our problem until and unless an NLCS where the 2 teams came together. And if that happened, hey, Mets fans would think they'd have a team they could beat. And we'd be looking over there with Joe Musgrove, Java Joe over there going, I think we got a good chance on our side as well. But right now, this is the week. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. This is the week you want to see the Padres gain ground. And yesterday they did it. They gained a game on L.A. and they gained a game on Arizona. You'd love to see at the end of the week the Padres gain at least 1 more game on both of those teams. And the reason for that is not just that Arizona plays the Mets the next 2 days. It's that then they play the Dodgers Friday through Labor Day. So if the Padres can keep putting wins on the board, there should be a moment where either LA beat, right? One of those 2 has to lose every day from Friday to Monday.
That's what I don't get. I don't see a scenario here unless the Padres lose and they lose, several games. I don't see a scenario here where this doesn't work out well for the Padres because someone's got to lose those Dodgers Diamondbacks games.
Right.
So you feel like they're going to jump something in these.
Well, also someone's going to win those games, right?
Right,
So
so-
every day, if you win, you're guaranteed to gain a game on one of the 2 teams. Every game against Tampa, if you lose, you're guaranteed to drop a game against one of those 2 teams. So it's just a great moment for you to take care of you. And if the Padres take care of, like they've done the last 2 days in St. Louis, they're in great shape.
What is the best case scenario for the Padres in terms? Is it the Dodgers and Diamondbacks splitting?
100%. 100%. A 2-2
Because then
split.
nobody really moves, but they could move up.
Yeah, and they both take 2 losses.
Yes, correct.
So,
yeah.
There's a moment, and we're really close to it. We're not quite there yet, but we're really close to it, where you stop looking at the win column and you only look at the loss column.
Yeah.
and you say, okay, where are we in the loss column? So adding losses to those teams is gigantic. The thing you don't want is one of the teams to sweep, just because that's going to create some distance, right? Either the Dodgers get out of reach, or the Diamondbacks.
Or the Diamondbacks get out of reach.
Or the Diamondbacks get out
or
of reach.
Or at least a few games ahead.
Yeah, which is, frustrating. You don't, what you really don't want, we figured this out by now, you really want something locked in by game 160 when you go to Chase Field. Because the last thing you want to do is have to fight tooth and nail those 3 games and use up all your stuff. And then Tuesday have to play the same damn team, with 1 day's rest.
I think you have to make a decision. If they find themselves in that position, I think you have to make a decision on punting perhaps the last game or one of those games, because you might not want to burn your best guys, your best pitcher. You might say to yourself, hey, I'm good with whatever spot we're in right now or whatever spot we're going to land in, because you're going to have to go face a do or die situation with the same team in a day later.
Yeah.
So that's ahead. That's way ahead. But
It's way
something
ahead.
that's, possible.
Until the last week, we keep our head down. We use this segment to know where we are. Just like the swimmer that as they bring up their head for breath, they can see where the other swimmer is, right? And then we keep our head down and we keep going. But with yesterday's Dodgers loss, now Arizona and San Diego are both 3 games back of L.A. In that loss column, L.A. has 54, Arizona has 57, and San Diego has 58. So just, something to keep in mind. Then there's a good solid 3-game gap between the Padres and Arizona and Atlanta, a team that, by the way, is back to 12 games over 500.
Yeah, Atlanta's been on the up and up.
Yeah, they were down to 7 games over 500. Now they're all the way back up to 12. So that's legitimate. That means they're within shooting range of us. And then it's another 3 games down to New York. So it's 6 games gap between San Diego and New York. That's why I'm perfectly happy to root for the Mets against the Diamondbacks. And then 2.5 behind that, you get to the desperation teams. You get to Chicago, San Francisco, and those 2 are a game over. St. Louis is 2 games under. But Braden, you've been tracking the schedules for all these teams, and while Chicago is getting absolutely slammed by Pittsburgh today, overall, you've got them as the weakest remaining schedule, right?
Yeah, they will play 9 games against teams above 500. Now, 6 of those are against the 2 best teams in the American and National League, with the Yankees and the Dodgers back-to-back. But they'll play 20 games against teams below 500. And within 5.5 games, they're within striking distance of Atlanta for that last spot, and they've kind of been a little bit of a resurgence, so I had to add them and take St. Louis off.
Crazy stuff can happen in September.
Or the Dodgers off.
It's very rare. I don't know, it's very rare. It just wouldn't be surprising to see teams kind of at the bottom levels maybe just kind of jump or I guess even at the top. But like stuff can happen in September, and depending on the schedule and depending on who you're facing and who gets hot. But I did see, Braden, that they've been lighting, Craig Counsell said yesterday, he received a Taylor Swift candle as a gift.
Oh.
And they've been lighting it, and it's brought them wins. So they're going to keep lighting it until, I would guess, today. And now the candle goes away.
They got to go find the Minnesota Twins sausage now? Try to find something else?
Oh, dear.
Maybe now you got to go get like Olivia Rodrigo or something. Like you just can't keep going.
Here's something just to keep.
Pop star.
Yeah, here's something to keep on the periphery of your mind going into next week. I just noticed this as I was going through because Braden has this nice color-coded schedule he's got for us that shows teams with winning records in green and losing records in red. And all of a sudden, the spot that had been red on our upcoming schedule flipped to green. Detroit,
There's a game above 500 now.
they've won 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're 67 and 66, and also in the exact same spot as the Cubs. They're
Are
5.5
they in
out
a
of
race? Are they?
No.
They're
No.
5.5 out of a
Okay.
wild card spot,
Oh, okay.
which is behind the Twins, who's in their division.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the line is 12 over, and they're 1 over.
Okay.
So, I mean,
But they're playing hard. They're playing,
Yeah.
right, they're winning.
The Giants, the Cubs, and the Tigers can all say the exact same thing, which is we're not dead.
Yet.
And I remember listening to an interview with Jesse on with Ben and Woods around this time last year when we were 6-8 games under 500 going, hey, you just never know. You can win 2 straight weeks and everything can change. But that's where these teams are now is they literally need to win like 10 games in a row. And if they do it, they've got a chance. Padres finally did it last year. They won 14 out of 16, but it was at the very end to get to 82 and 80. They needed that spark like at this time of the year to get him into it. They never did.
And they spoiled a few teams along the way, but, still didn't make the playoffs. But, had a good September. So you just never know what team is going to kind of do that for another team.
For the Padres, keep your eyes forward, keep the blinders on, and take care of business in St. Louis today. When we come back, it's the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. Fun second half of the show all lined up for you. So stay right here on The Fan. The midpoint of the work week has arrived, 12 o'clock on Wednesday. Welcome back, everybody. It's your midday hang, Annie and Elsten here with you, getting the lunch hour started on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Suprenant. Craig Elsten here with you. When it's 12, it means it's time to get you a nice little slice of all the sports news of the world. Here we go with all your sports news for Wednesday, August 28th. It's the 12 o'clock Sports Fix on Annie and Elsten, and Annie's got the busiest beat right now, Big League Baseball.
All right, let's start up in San Francisco, where the hits just keep on coming for this pitching staff. The Giants announced they have placed right-hander Jordan Hicks on the 15-day injured list with right shoulder inflammation. Righty Austin Warren was recalled as the corresponding move. It's unclear how long Hicks will be out of action. But like I said, it's another blow to their pitching staff, as is left-hander Robbie Ray, who was also moved to the IL with a left hamstring strain. The St. Louis Cards recalled right-hander Riley O'Brien yesterday. They designated Sean Armstrong for assignment. Now remember, St. Louis traded the 3 remaining years of Dylan Carlson for roughly 3.5 weeks of Sean Armstrong. They got him at the deadline. Katie Wu, who covers the Cardinals for The Athletic, tweeted that trading Carlson was necessary for both parties, but this is not a great look. The Rays announced that catcher Rob Brantley was designated for assignment. Brantley's brief stint with the Rays saw him make 9 plate appearances over 3 games. It marked his first major league playing time since he appeared in a single game with the Yankees during the 2022 season. Detroit Tigers shortstop Javier Baez will undergo season-ending surgery on his right hip, Tigers manager A.J. Hinch just told reporters. The news comes after Baez went on the injured list Friday with lumbar spine and hip discomfort. The Mariners announced they've hired Edgar Martinez as a hitting coach for the remainder of the season. The Hall of Famer will join new manager Dan Wilson's staff after Seattle dismissed former hitting coach Jarrett DeHart yesterday and after they fired Scott Service last week. Royals starting pitcher Michael Lorenzen exited Tuesday's start against the Guardian with a left hamstring strain. He got hurt while stretching as he covered first base. He will get an MRI today. And the Padres took Game 2 from the Cardinals yesterday, 7-5. They have a chance to win the series today. It'll be Joe Musgrove on the mound for San Diego and Andre Palante for the Cardinals. First pitch, 4:45 p.m.
Baseball scoreboard's already clicking. We told you about the game going on in Cleveland with all the news, including Paul Skeens on the mound for Pittsburgh. Here's Braden.
We'll talk about today's scores just a little bit. Let's take a look at last night. Rangers and White Sox game got suspended on the south side of Chicago. They are going to make that up today. My question is why? Why even make up the White Sox games at this point? Put them out of their misery.
Why? I agree with you.
Just end the season.
Why
Just
make
pack
those
it
up?
up. You know what?
Who
Just
are
give.
they against?
Because we got 3 games left against them, that's why.
They're playing the
Can't back
Texas
them up yet.
Rangers.
You can't just end their season in September like a minor league team, I guess.
Yes, even though they should.
Yes.
Garrett Crochet did start that game. He was going to face
Oh, did he go 3?
Marcus Semien.
Did he go a solid 3 innings?
They didn't even pitch. He went to a 2-2 count to Marcus Semien, and they banged the game.
Brilliant.
Bang it.
Great job, Chicago. Weather, stuff like that. Tigers have been on a tear, as we talked about before. They beat the Halos last night 6-2 in Detroit. Royals over the Guardians 6-1 last night. They're in the process of trying to complete the 4-game sweep. We'll get you an update on that in just a matter of moments. Cubs beat the Pirates yesterday. They're now only 5.5 games out of a wild card spot. A's over the Reds 5-4. Phillies blanked the Astros 5-0. It's the Nationals doubling up the Yankees 4-2. Patrick Corbin, 6 innings of shutout ball last night.
What?
What? What year is it?
Did he think he was facing the Padres?
Patrick Corbin beat Garrett Cole last night.
Okay.
Wow. Baseball is stupid and no one should watch.
That's a fact.
Wow. Patrick Corbin gets the win. He's now 4-12 in the year. Garrett Cole lost. He's 5-3. Yankees fans got to be pulling their hair out at that game. Flush it.
Patrick Corbin.
Patrick Corbin beats
Blast from
Garrett
the
Cole.
past,
Imagine
any given
like you're
day.
lined up for let's just say it's the Padres. We got Garrett Cole on the hill, and we're going to Patrick Corbin. That's a win.
It's
Yeah.
the
Oh
guy that
wait,
they
no, it's
faced,
not.
The other
It's
day on
baseball.
Who'd they face on Sunday against the Mets? The guy that's had their number this year.
Jose Quintana.
Quintana.
Yeah.
I almost
I
said
mean-
that when Craig said they don't have an ace. I was about to be like, wait, hold on a second, buddy. They
Yeah.
got
But, like, that's
they
the
got
kinda,
Jose Quintana against the
Padres.
Padres.
Well, they got the win on Sunday, but it's a guy that just
Has their
continues
number.
to deal, against the Padres. Exactly.
Patrick Corbin owns the Yankees, I guess. Mm-hmm. He'll close up shop with the
something,
Keys
yeah.
later. Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 6-3. Braves over the Twins 8-6 in 10. Giants outlast the Brew Crew 5-4. In the battle of the worst two teams in the National League, it was the Marlins 9 and the Rockies 8. Who's tuned into those games?
I think the Rockies. I actually
Calvin
think
Faucher's family?
Braden. I think they're important because I think the Rockies with one more loss are eliminated. Or I thought I heard something about that.
I wouldn't. I mean, they're at 84
Yes,
losses
the
right
Rockies.
now.
The
So,
Rockies
yes.
were a loss from elimination. I heard the same thing.
Okay, so these are important games.
Don't look now.
Yeah.
Rockies could win the next 29
That's
games.
right. That's right.
Hilltop Lancer Calvin Faucher gets the save, his fourth of the year for the Marlins. Mets over the Diamondbacks doing the Lord's work. Sean Manaea, thank you. 10-5 now in the season. Mets win 8-3. Rays over the Mariners 3-2. God, the Mariners are just treading water right now. Orioles also doing the Lord's work. They beat the Dodgers last night 3-2.
It's a good game.
It was a good game.
I was
Good game.
watched it all the way down.
I didn't see that one. Okay.
Yeah, it came right down to the bottom of the ninth inning, and they had Mookie on. Mookie got a one-out hit. He stole second, and Sir Anthony Dominguez threw over 30 pitches.
Oh, Sir Anthony.
Yeah, he walked Gavin Lux on like 10 pitches, and then it was Chris Taylor up with Shohei on deck, and Taylor rammed one in the gap, and Colton Cowser ran it down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So they
great.
thought they were going to get it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off the bat, it was like, oops, he just got the game-tying double, and here comes Otani, and nope.
and no, they got the. Hey, Freddie Freeman's still out, right? Or he was out yesterday.
Yeah, and
He
the
was out
Dodgers fans
yesterday.
were pissed because he was in the dugout and he didn't hit. And Twitter was all full of,
He has a
you
finger
better have a
fracture."
broken finger if you're not going to hit there,
Oh
But
man.
LA fans a little bit
rough
nervous
times.
now.
They're
It's getting
starting
close to October, so
nitty gritty. This is
yeah.
the time where it blows up on them.
they start to get those nervous feelings.
Games going on today. Pirates up 10-5. Cubs have added 2 more runs in the 7th inning after a 5-run second for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's the bottom half of the 7th inning. Pirates trying to get those 2 runs back. Still a lot of ball game left. Never know. Top of the 7th inning. Royals over the Guardians 5-2. Royals trying to complete a 4-game sweep in Cleveland to take over first place in the Central. By the
Maybe
way.
the greatest story in baseball all year. Team lost 108 games last year.
Went out and got some pitching during the offseason and are doing really well.
Picked up the back half of the Padres rotation.
That's right. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
they look good for those guys. Maybe they'll be
It's
good for
worked
us.
out.
Yeah. The Rangers-White Sox game will get resumed at about 2:10 Pacific time for all of you just
Dying.
itching to watch that game. And then they'll play game 2 at 5:10 Pacific time. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, but that's neither here nor there. Mets and Diamondbacks will get underway at 6:40. Orioles and Dodgers at 7:10. Padres and Cardinals, another 4:45 start. Joe Musgrove versus Andre Palante, Southern California matchup.
The challenge of doing this segment at the end of August on the 12 o'clock Sports Fix remains challenging, and I'm up for that challenge every day. Here we go.
Love
This is
the
what
attitude.
I found. The San Diego Legion have their next head coach. You might remember
wow.
that multiple frequent guest, Danny Lee, parted ways with the Legion, or the Legion
Right.
parted ways with Danny Lee
Was it a
after
mutual
they lost.
parting of ways or
There
no?
was usually I think of a parting of ways as mutual.
Mutual.
He was
some-
on our show. We
Like
We
5
appreciate
times,
that.
4 or 5
Right.
times. Yeah,
Yes.
great guy. Well, hopefully we'll become friends with the new head coach, 53-year-old Australian John Manenti. He's never coached outside of Australia, but has been a professional coach down under since 2010. Most recently, he has been the head coach of the Australian national rugby sevens teams. First, he was the head coach of their women's team. Then he was the head coach of their men's team, leading them to the bronze medal match in Paris earlier this month. In August, I
Yeah.
was about to say, but that's earlier this month. So now John Manenti is the new head coach of San Diego Legion. First time coaching rugby 15s in years, but he is excited for the challenge. The U.S. Open is underway in New York. Yesterday, Carlos Alcaraz dropped a set. Looked a bit shaky, but still won his opening round match. In the women's draw, Naomi Osaka beat 10th-ranked Helena Ostapenko. It was her first win over a top 10 player in 4 years. So good luck to Naomi Osaka, continuing through the bracket. And the FedEx Championship. This is the end of the PGA Tour season. It gets underway tomorrow at the East Lake Country Club. And hey, they haven't even started playing, guys, but we've got a leaderboard. Because remember, you get a staggered start to the championship tournament based on your point standings. So Scotty Scheffler begins hole 1, 10 under par. Xander Schauffele, 8 under. Hideki Matsuyama, 7 under. The winner of last week's BMW Championship, Keegan Bradley, jumped all the way to 4th, so he'll be 6 under. Ludwig Oberg, 5 under. Sam Burns, 4 under, with Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, and Wyndham Clark, and Rory McIlroy. Tony Finau, Shane Lowry, Adam Scott will be 3 under, with Sungjae Im, Sahith Theegala, and Akshay Bhatia. And all the way down to the last 5 guys are at even par, including Justin Thomas. And that's how it'll roll. And tomorrow we'll have real scores as the golfers will golf.
Okay.
And the first round will be underway. But now back for Braden and football.
Since we don't have a show tomorrow, due to early games, we'll get through your college schedule to watch tomorrow. A lot of games. In fact, 21. So if you want to be off work, you can be off work around 3 o'clock. That's the first kick, and you can watch football through the night. 21 games starting at 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. The first game that you could potentially watch is Howard versus Rutgers. Rutgers, at Big Ten Network in New Jersey. They're 36.5-point favorites over Howard.
Maybe I'll skip it.
I'm sure you could watch the first 10 minutes of that and then get dialed into Western Carolina, NC State on the ACC network. The Catamounts taking on the Wolfpack at 4 o'clock.
Get locked in.
They get locked in. For all the degenerate gamblers out there, NC State's favored by 32.5. I'm sure you could get all the lines somewhere as well. That's who's really going to be tuned into a lot of these games. There are some good ones, though, for you. The Murray State Races, the Racers at the Missouri Tigers at 5 o'clock on the SEC network. Most of the games are 5 o'clock kicks. Other ranked teams, Kansas Jayhawks, 22 in the country. No, it is not basketball. It is football. They're hosting the Lindenwood Lions. I have never heard of that school.
Lindenwood Lions.
Lindenwood Lions. That sounds like a high school, but the Lindenwood Lions are taking on the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas is favored by, anybody want to take a guess?
No.
We don't even know who Lindenwood is.
Lindenwood, I want to say 102.
45-point spread in favor of the Kansas Jayhawks tomorrow over the Lindenwood Lions. That game's on ESPN Plus for obvious reasons. North Carolina will take on Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, at 5 o'clock on Fox. Other important games for you. You have a chicken fight between, as opposed to what else I could have said, I guess. Coastal Carolina, Chanticleers at the Jacksonville State Gamecocks at 5 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. Jacksonville State's favored by 3. That's a pretty good game. North Dakota State at Colorado. It's the Bison, not the Bison, the Bison against the Colorado Buffaloes. So some herds are clashing tomorrow in Boulder, Colorado at Folsom Field.
The Buffalo?
The Buffaloes are favored by 10. Now remember, Bison, there's no more Buffaloes. Buffaloes don't exist. Do you know about that?
The Buffaloes are extinct?
The American Buffalo is gone. There was like 10 left, and they had to mingle them with cows, and that's how you have bison. So bison are smaller than buffaloes, hence why the buffaloes are favored by 10 over the smaller bison.
Got it.
You know, because science.
I will be rooting for the Bison.
I would be rooting for the Bison too. Free Sean Keeler. North Carolina and Minnesota. North Carolina is favored by 2. Last game I wanted to talk about. Southern Utah Thunderbirds are taking on the Utah Utes, the 12th ranked Utah Utes. Utah's favored by 38. There's tons of other games you could watch. Final game of the night will be Sac State at San Jose State. San Jose State's favored by 4. You can watch that on True TV. That is your look at your college football games tomorrow. I'm excited, except I will be coaching a football game. Maybe I'll watch it on the bus ride home from Chaminade, which is 3.5 hours away.
Lindenwood game. Just check in on that.
Lindenwood, well, you know, it's a Big 12 team in there, so you know I'm locked. NFL news. Russell Wilson will start a quarterback in the Pittsburgh Steelers season opener. Atlanta Coach Mike Tomlin announced Wednesday Wilson, who signed a one-year deal with the Steelers in March, entered the offseason in pole position, quote, for the starting job, according to Tomlin. He retained the spot despite a calf injury that sidelined him throughout the majority of Steelers training camp. Justin Fields, whom the Steelers acquired from the Bears in a March trade for a conditional 6th-round pick, will back up Wilson. That's your starting quarterback for the Steelers. Dallas Cowboys will sign veteran running back Dalvin Cook. His agency told ESPN. Cook, who visited the Cowboys on Tuesday, will join the Cowboys practice squad. According to ESPN, Cowboys' 53-man roster already includes running backs Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dwaddle, and Deuce Vaughn, and fullback Hunter Lepke. Yes, fullbacks still exist. San Diego news. Lions to sign wide receiver Tim Patrick to the practice squad. Tim Patrick, the former Denver Bronco, also the University City Centurion, and Grossmont College Griffin before he became a Utah Ute and signed as an undrafted free agent with the Baltimore Ravens. Tim Patrick will be signing with the Detroit Lions. So Tim Patrick finds a new home. Congratulations to him. Love seeing the San Diego guys represent in the National Football League.
Did you see
and at the D1 level?
That Tony Jefferson? You remember Tony Jefferson?
Yeah,
Did he make the team?
Yeah.
He made the Chargers.
He made the Chargers.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Oh. Well,
Good for him
I
to
was
stay
liking the story
employed.
until the last word.
I'm not going to.
He made
Exactly. Like, this is, for him to still be playing and make a
Yeah.
team is phenomenal. You wish it was probably a different team.
It is the same
Yeah.
guy that wrote like San Diego and his cleats with the Ravens
I was
when they
there
played
at that
them.
game
Yes,
in
did he
that
do
locker
that?
room, interviewed him when the Chargers moved. And he was not happy about the move, but like I said, you can't hold it against a guy for wanting to continue his career. He's probably not getting that many opportunities.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure he still doesn't love the move.
I interviewed him as a high school junior at Easton.
At East Lake High.
I mean, literally, called his games, and we did, like Ella and I on 619 Sports did interviews with Tony Jefferson.
Isn't that funny?
Back in the day.
Tony Jefferson does a cool tournament every year down at East Lake for 7-on-7 in the summer where he puts up $10,000. And the winning school
Really?
gets a donation to their school for $10,000. He's done it a couple of times.
That's
down there.
awesome.
Super cool. But it's good that he keeps playing. I mean, I think he tried to make a comeback a couple of years ago.
Right.
And it didn't work out, but he made the team. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's it for the football fix part of the sports fix.
And that's it. If the football part's done, the fix is done.
Which game are you dialed in? Are you going to watch the Eastern Illinois
I'm all about Lindenwood.
fighting? Didn't Tony Rumble go there?
The Lindenwood Lions. That should be our
That's our team. That's
For
our
this
college
week.
team.
That's
For
not
this
going to be
week.
my college
This week's team.
Well, you know what? I'm always
besides San Diego teams, of course.
It'd be an embarrassing loss to the Big 12 if they lost to Lindenwood. I haven't even heard. Like the logo looks like a generic logo you could create on a video game.
Yeah, are we sure it's a real team?
Is it a real school?
Bishop Sycamore
Is it
showing up.
AI? Yeah, right, exactly.
That's a wild
Bishop
thing.
Sycamore action.
Are you going to be dialed into Southeast Louisiana to Tulane tomorrow, Craig, at 5 o'clock on ESPN Plus?
I feel
It's
like
a green wave, Craig.
I feel like I got something going on.
Northwestern State,
tomorrow.
Tulsa Golden Hurricane might tickle your fancy. Tulsa by 32.
I do. Here's. I just like to say, pour a little one out for any one of y'all that feels the need to bet on these games, because it's a unique form of sadness when you are betting on a week one game based on a 50-point spread for two teams you've never seen, and then you're suffering through the second quarter because, like, literally when Lindenwood gets a first down, you start to
Living
panic,
and dying.
and your stomach acid just starts to like quadruple, and you're like, wait a second. And then Kansas, God forbid, misses a third down, and you're like,
People call that fun, Craig. People call that fun. I don't know if that's necessarily my level of fun, but I know some people that do call that fun.
it's 49-0 in the fourth, and you're like clutching. I gotta get another touchdown.
Alcorn State Braves, UAB Blazers.
Couldn't be me.
Any hype out of that
either,
yet?
Annie.
No?
Couldn't be
No?
me either. Couldn't be.
How about the Duquesne Dukes at the Toledo Rockets?
I like the names.
The names are great. That's why I keep going with these.
Yeah, Rockets are good.
Arkansas
Rockets.
Pine Bluff Golden Lions at the Arkansas Razorbacks. Doesn't tickle your fancy. Arkansas by 48.5.
Leave that for the Huckabee family.
How about
They
the
can
Battle
watch.
of Centrals? Central Connecticut at Central Michigan. It would be the Blue Devils, and what's the Central Michigan mascot, Craig? Annie, do we know?
No.
Wait, Central Michigan?
Yes.
Is that
The
the
Central-
Chippewas?
The Chippewas.
Michigan-
I do know.
Fire up Chips.
Chippewas.
Chippewas
Let's
are
go
favored by
Chippewas.
32. I mean, I'm almost through
That was
the
Dick
entire
Enberg's
slate.
team, wasn't it?
It was, I
Dick
think.
Enberg went to Central Michigan.
Fordham plays Bowling Green
Yeah,
tomorrow.
huge Chippewa guy.
It's a nice little note.
Imagine having money on the Fordham game tomorrow.
I can't. I literally can't.
New Hampshire. It's playing UCF.
Is this where I mentioned that the major studies done have shown that every state that has allowed you to put a sports book on your phone in your pocket has experienced negative economy, a lack of investment, and that it particularly affects those in lower income brackets?
Are you going to watch UL Monroe Warhawks and their quarterback General Booty
General Booty?
take on Jackson
that is
State
not
Tigers?
The guy's name. Is that his
It's
name?
real. Look it up.
Now, his
Amazing.
nickname,
General Booty.
his nickname, and you're going to have to bear with me here,
is Booty.
is Booty.
Yes, Louisiana Monroe starting quarterback General Booty will lead the UL Monroe Warhawks
Shout out
with an
promos
8-point
on 97.3
favorite.
The Fan.
to Jackson State's Tigers in Monroe, Louisiana at 4 o'clock on ESPN Plus.
General Axel Booty.
Yes.
General Axel Booty.
He is the nephew of former NFL quarterback John David Booty
Yes.
and former Miami Marlins third baseman and NFL quarterback Josh Booty. I guess he's both their nephews. Okay. A lot of booty.
And
But General Booty
yeah,
takes the cake.
Mom and Dad, big Guns N'
General
Roses fans,
Booty.
middle name Axel.
Right. Yes. General Axel Booty.
General Booty
From
in
Allen, Texas.
My gosh.
94-degree heat in Louisiana. That's swamp.
He went to
Booty.
J. Sarah.
J. Sarah Catholic?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he went to
General
Allen High
Axel
School
Booty.
and J. Sarah Catholic.
Those are two very prominent high school football
Yeah.
programs in the United States. Yes, General. But see, look, you were intrigued by the entire
Yeah.
college
Should
football
get
score
some
report.
NIL for that. That is like hilarious NIL.
Right?
Like
There should be
some
some kind of NIL for him. Yeah.
baby powder.
I guess, or like,
Feels like it should be a character in like a Vonnegut novel or something.
Right.
A General Axel Booty.
The swamp ass with the 94 degrees in
The dude-
Louisiana
the
when that
dude
ball
wipes
gets
that-
kicked off.
Ben and Woods were talking about and Paul the other day. Booty.
General.
Some kind of peach endorsement.
Yes.
I'm sure he's got something.
Apples, peaches.
Reese, Angel Reese just got Reese's peanut butter cups.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think
Reese's
that's like
Pieces.
such a perfect sponsorship.
Of course.
When we come back on the lovely little program known as Annie and Elsten.
Yeah, do
We're
you
gonna break
salute
down-
General Axel Booty?
We're going to break down General Booty's chances against Jackson State tomorrow. The
I can't
Oklahoma
wait for the
transfer.
college announcer to be so serious,
Yeah.
Tessitor. General Axel Booty.
Taking the field.
Do you think Chesator's doing the
Locked
4
in.
o'clock game on
I
ESPN
don't.
Plus
Actually,
tomorrow?
I don't. I
Where
just-
General Booty's taking on Jackson
No,
State?
it's some other kid.
It's-
not
yeah.
him. It's not him.
That's the Braden of Louisiana is doing that game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. General Axel Booty, back to pass.
General Axel Booty on the ground.
Booty. Booty hits the ground.
Yeah,
that
Booty.
throw
Yeah, exactly.
was Booty.
Oh my gosh.
Booty ball. That's what
Wow,
it's gonna be.
that's gonna
when
be
their
great.
offense goes.
Yeah,
if
when they're
it's-
clicking.
If there's a headline, that's going to be it. Booty ball.
Booty ball.
Booty ball. He's here to work and he's here to twerk.
Mm-hmm.
God, it would be way more fun to do the college football eliminator than the NFL.
There's just too many teams. It's too many. We'd be here till the end of the season. We finally decided a team.
But it'd be kind of funny though. I mean, it's like, what about this guy? Well, I like General Booty, so we're gonna keep him on the list.
We just go for the name of the week, like the Lions or the Booty. You know,
the
Lions
The
or the
Lindenwood.
Booty?
Lindenwood.
Right.
I
What
don't know.
would you choose?
Murray State Racers is a cool name.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Their mascot is a horse racer.
A racing horse?
No, like a jockey.
Oh,
oh
He's like
wow,
a dude riding a horse. Yeah, because
it's
they're
an
like
actual
I think-
jockey.
Yeah, I think they're in Kentucky.
Okay,
that makes sense.
that makes
They're
sense.
the
Yeah.
racers.
Okay, when we come back, it's time for our everyday segment until kickoff, a week and a day from now, our NFL team eliminator. By the end of this exercise, we will have the official, unofficial, official Annie and Elsten NFL team for 2024. We have eliminated 11 teams, which means 21 remain.
Including Russell Wilson Steelers.
And 3 more will be cut in our
Axed.
next segment. Find out which teams are going to get the axe when we come back. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Floor & Decor. Unbeatable prices, unmatched in-stock selection. Floor & Decor has more styles of laminate, vinyl, tile, wood, and stone for anyone looking for the right look at the right price. Your next beautiful space is at Floor & Decor. Floor & Decor, unbeatable prices, unmatched in-stock selection. Welcome back. It's Annie and Elsten. Football season is around the corner. We're very baseball heavy here on your midday hang. But, you know, we have to recognize reality that even if the Padres take it all the way, come November, there'll be no baseball to talk about. Mm-hmm. And here in town, I think this entire show has decided we are not of the mind to chase the carpetbaggers up the highway and pretend like we have any affiliation left with that team that occupied our life for so many years. So, what are we to do? Come up with a new team is the answer, and irrationally support them for the remainder of the season. We are going to adopt a team here on Annie and Elsten. It'll be our team, and we'll shepherd them all the way to the Super Bowl or elimination with full hearts and wobbling eyes. All right, we have eliminated 11 teams. It's time for the NFL Team Eliminator. Today, 3 more teams are going to bite the dust. Now, my first question, Braden, is how's the computer doing? Think we could get our Raiders kid in?
Let's find out. Oh no, because I can't put StreamYard on this computer. So.
Oh,
boo.
wow.
Okay. So the Raiders are safe for another day.
Raiders
the
keep
Raiders
advancing
live.
because the computer sucks. Yes, I cannot access StreamYard on this computer right now.
Unreal.
So
Okay.
I can play the audio, but you can't show it.
Nah.
So that's
we'll
kind of
save it for Friday. See what happens. Friday we have to cut 6 teams, so
Yeah, that's right, because we
Get
don't have a
real
show
ruthless.
tomorrow.
it'll be serious. Okay, so once again, I would like to open the floor to my friends and colleagues. If you have a team that you woke up this morning and said, we've got to take them off the list.
Annie?
Someone to take off the list. I
Yeah.
like it better when you just say the names of the teams, and then I don't have a team that I want to take off
Okay.
the
Yeah,
list.
we gotta do better homework. We
I've
gotta do
got
better at
one
our
for
homework
you.
assignment.
I've got one for you then. The Commanders.
All right.
Who wants to root for the Commanders?
And your reasoning?
They're the Commanders.
The name's kind of lame.
The name is super lame.
I agree.
The history is not great.
The
And
only
I got no interest.
ties we had to the Commanders were Rivera, who's no longer there,
Yeah.
who spent time here in San Diego. His daughter's a Don, and Casey Toohill, who is also a Don, but he's not on the team anymore either. He's on the Bills. So I have no connection to the Commanders. I second the vote
All
to
right.
cast them off the island.
Annie, any objection?
It doesn't matter because there's 2 out of 3. So
Well,
you can
it
cast them.
could be unanimous.
No,
so.
anyone says I really want to keep them,
Okay.
we'll keep them. Because yesterday, remember, I'm willing to cut any team. So, so like yesterday when Braden brought up Pittsburgh and you said no, we stopped. Right? Same thing with the Cowboys.
I have no objection.
All right, Commanders,
objection.
done.
We'll see ya.
Scratch them off the list.
And
They out of here.
do you have
Okay.
any other suggestions?
I would like to suggest the Ravens.
Baltimore. Quote the Raven nevermore.
I mean, again, East Coast.
Okay.
Is John Harbaugh still?
John Harbaugh's there, so there's a Harbaugh connection, so I can be unfairly mad at John just for his brother.
That's kind of rough.
It is, but here's my thinking. I feel bandwagony jumping on the Ravens. Am I wrong? I mean, talk me into it. They got a great quarterback. It'd be
I
exciting to
Lamar.
watch
I
him
think the
play.
Ravens are a good team.
I like Lamar. Lamar's badass.
Okay.
Guy's tough.
The color scheme's good.
Right.
Ravens are kind of cool. They're the anti-Steelers, which is a vote of yes for me.
Seems like a good fan base.
Yeah, I like the Ravens. Eric Weddle used to play there. I like
Right.
Eric Weddle.
Tony
One
Jefferson used to
of
play
the
there?
Ravens
Yes.
or the Steelers has to go. There's no way that we could root for one of those teams. Well, I mean, we're eventually going to get down
let's
to
take
one.
out the Steelers.
I vote the Steelers because I don't like Russell Wilson
Right.
either.
I thought we did take him out yesterday, but you're right. I wanted
No,
to
we
keep
left
him.
them around because Annie
Right.
was like, I got to see who's their starting quarterback.
Well, we can cross him off.
All right,
We
scratch
don't
him
like
off
Russ.
the list.
Yeah, let's get.
Well, just
I'm never going to root for Russell Wilson.
I'm not Russ. No, he's too fake.
Yeah, no
And
chance.
especially on our show where we're all about calling out the eyewash.
Yeah.
On a plane ride to London last year or 2 years ago, he's doing exercises in the middle of the airplane and filming it for social media. Imagine being on that guy's team. I'd just be like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
Eyewash. Could you imagine if a Padre did that and we found out about it? Be like, wait, is this guy for real right now?
Steelers gone.
We'll see ya. Sorry, Magic. They're gone.
Gone. All right. I got one more for you.
All right.
The Bucks.
The Buccaneers.
Why are we going to root for the Bucks? They got a dang pirate ship in their stadium.
Okay,
that's
that's
a
kind
reason
of cool,
to root
though.
for them.
Oh, that's true.
The pirate ship is cool, but you got anything else?
Does Baker Mayfield still
BJ?
play there?
He does. I don't like Baker Mayfield.
Me neither.
Baker Mayfield bothers me.
Pewter.
I like the pirate ship, but that's fine.
I like the pirate ship too, but I don't know if I like it more than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
not
enough of
feeling
the
it.
like
Not
of
feeling Tampa.
I think enough of the like of the pirate ship gets them through for another day.
Okay. Let's keep
Okay.
going.
All right. Okay.
What else you got?
Survived. They survived the day.
What else are you?
Soon to surely be.
What
cut.
else is grinding your gears from an NFL standpoint?
All right. I'll just go simple. We're not going to pick any LA team, right?
With the Rams,
Yeah.
kind of like Sean McVay.
I kind of like Sean McVay too.
I like the fact that
They're a
they.
child-
I like the
Childhood team of
Rams
mine.
because they still do stuff in San Diego too, and
True. They own the stadium.
Right.
They are the owners of everything that's up there. They own LA.
All right. They survived.
they did bring Eric Weddle back to win a Super Bowl.
They did, and they won a Super Bowl to make the Chargers even more less relevant in LA. I think the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
This job is getting harder.
It is, but it's supposed to be hard. So
The Titans.
I like the Titans. They're like the Chargers,
Remember
the
Titans.
South.
I like the Titans too. What about the Texans? Do we like the Texans?
I think they're going to be really good this year.
But
CJ Stroud,
Colts?
solid.
the Colts have that guy.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm,
right.
I'm still in on the
I still
Colts
like
as long
them.
as they've got that
Yeah.
guy.
How about the Bears?
No, I want to keep the Bears.
All right, fine.
Okay, number one.
Cowboys?
Okay.
Cowboys?
I mean, I'm already going to root for them on my own anyway. And if our show does it, it'd be kind of a bandwagon thing.
Yeah.
Eagles.
I'd rather cut the Cowboys first.
I'll say the Cowboys for another day.
Damn it.
What about the Seahawks?
That's fine.
Is there any reason to root for the Seahawks anymore?
Blake Snell likes them.
Ant?
I mean, I like
Yeah. That's about all I
the
got for you.
Seattle, but we could cross them off.
Yeah,
we
let's
need to cross someone else off.
We got one more. to get rid of.
I'm not feeling confident in that one, though, either.
I'd rather root for the Seahawks than several teams that we have allowed to survive.
All right. That's,
Okay.
What about did we cross the Panthers out yesterday?
We can cross the Panthers out.
Let's get rid of the Panthers.
I hate the Panthers.
Their owner stinks. Their team
Yeah.
stinks.
Yeah, that's right.
They're kind of a mess. Why would we ever root for the Panthers?
It would be what a horrible season we're signing
Yeah.
ourselves up for.
Why did we let them pass last
Panthers
week?
stink.
They're awful. Their team's awful. Their owner's awful.
Cross them off the list then.
We'll see ya, Carolina.
Get out of here, Panthers.
That's right. I don't even like your barbecue.
Yeah. Carolina Gold.
Carolina pulled pork. Meh.
Some people
It's
think
too sweet.
your queso, your white queso is best.
Yeah, wait a minute.
That's erroneous.
That is erroneous.
It's erroneous.
Erroneous!
Will
Leave
Myers.
Will Myers out of this. There will be no Will Myers slander.
The white queso was a mistake for Will.
You know what? Some of us are triggered by the white queso, Annie, okay?
It's a problem.
Queso Blanco.
Shout
not
out
Mexican
Will.
food.
Queso Blanco. All right, when we come back, more silliness. It's time for silly games.
So we got to go. So we cut the Panthers.
Yep, Commanders
Commanders.
and the Steelers.
And the
finally,
Steelers.
Finally got rid of the
All
Steelers.
right, so we
Mercy
got,
killing.
what are we down to? We got
In the AFC, we have the Bills.
Bills are left. The lone AFC East.
Yep,
I like the
Nobody
Bills.
circles the wagons.
haven't killed them yet.
North, Ravens and Bengals.
Yeah, Ravens and Bengals
I think
still
the
alive.
Bengals are getting a little bit of a pass right
I
now.
tickled the Ravens, but we kept them alive today.
South, the Titans, Texans, and Colts.
Just going strong right now. We're definitely cutting someone on Friday from that group.
Yeah, the AFC South and the NFC West are hanging on too much. AFC West, Chiefs and Raiders.
Listen, the Chiefs are never going to win this contest. At some point, we're
Yes.
going to get down to the end, and I'm going to put my foot down.
Wait, why are we against the Chiefs?
They've won.
They win all the
They win
time.
everything.
That's
we're
why you should be for the Chiefs.
Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Mahomes. It's.
They do got
Too
a couple.
much, too
they,
much.
they got a couple
Yeah.
frogs on there, but aside from that, I don't. Nah.
Just. I mean, I get it, but
I don't mind the Raiders, to be honest. The Raiders are kind of fun.
it's like
Yeah, I
jumping
don't
into the
mind the Raiders
EPL and
either.
being like, "Oh, I'll just be a Man City fan." Well, yeah, they've won every championship.
Okay, I see. Yeah, they're the more dynasty type. We could cross out the Chiefs.
We're not.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Wait.
Yeah.
Eagles and Cowboys in the East. I guarantee you both of them will be crossed out before next week.
Yeah, probably, yes.
North, the Bears, Vikings, and Lions.
I feel like a winner could come out of that group.
Me too.
I feel like a winner might be in there.
South, the Saints and the Bucks.
A couple of those teams on
I think the
borrowed
Bucks.
time.
I think the Buccaneers are hanging on for life support right now. And if they didn't shoot cannons off in the end zone when they scored, they'd probably off the list.
Planks
That's right.
being extended on that pirate
If they
ship.
didn't have a
Likes
pirate ship,
pirates.
they would have been booted weeks ago. And out west, the Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks.
Oh,
Everybody else has been eliminated.
yep.
I like it.
We will scratch 6 more teams Friday because tomorrow we have no show because Padres will be playing at 11:15.
Gives us more time to think about teams to scratch off.
Okay.
And slowly but surely, we're going to have one really hard segment next Wednesday or Thursday when we get down to the final team. And then we're going to be fighting for our teams.
Chiefs have Matt Ariza.
They do?
And another Aztec, Cam Thomas. They just added another Aztec. Thank you for
They got some
got
frogs
a
too,
little,
but I don't like Kansas
bat
City.
signal on that.
Did the Browns? The Browns got
I
eliminated.
really have a hard time going through this process and settling on the number 1 team.
Yeah. I get that. It's kind of like you already know they're going to be good or they've been so good. There's not a whole lot of excitement either
Yeah.
way. Like it's
Plus, we're buying into the tail end. Anyone knows on the stock market, that's not the time to buy a stock,
Yeah.
is when
I
it's
like the
been
Chiefs
up,
a lot.
right?
Right.
Because if this is the year they don't win it, then we just signed on at the exact wrong time.
Who wants to break Johnny Churro's heart that we eliminated the Jaguars yesterday?
Yeah, Jaguars already gone. Colts still alive. We love them.
I do think we need to factor in like potentially visiting our favorite team, and Vegas is kind of cool.
This is our Colts. This is our team.
That is a good way for me to just X them out right now. And I feel bad for that guy because I know it makes him happy, so I don't want to destroy the guy. But that song, if I have to listen to that song all year,
Every Friday, we just bang out because I'm sure he does a new one for each game.
hey, Bet and Woods do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's their bit. So we can't have the Colts. So Colts are soon to be dead, but they live for 2 more days. They live for 2 more days within the NFL Eliminator.
it's like Big Brother, NFL edition.
When we come back, it's time to play the match game. Oh boy, should we do it at 1? Should we do it at 1, Braden?
Yeah, we did it one.
No, we're going to do the match game at 1.
Is Greg coming on?
Yes.
Is he
I think
gonna? Well, he could pitch to us why the Eagles should be their team.
Yeah,
that's his squad.
But I just don't want to tank the clock.
no, I think
So-
we should do it at 1.
Yeah, we'll do a quick segment here. We'll come back, and then we'll play the match game at 1 o'clock. Andy and Elsten on the...
Sorry. Never mind.
Oh, what do you
I
got?
can answer in the chat.
Is it a tease?
No. I don't.
Is it a tease?
Nope.
It's not.
I Need Money just keeps asking if the Browns got eliminated.
Yes, they
Okay,
did.
sorry.
That's that.
Oh,
That's that. I need
Lord.
money. Pay
I
attention.
personally
dude.
like those fans, but they had to go.
And
We've
it
got to
was-
get rid of some of these teams.
Sorry, dog pound no more.
I mean, they had so many years where they're just out in that freezing cold.
Yeah.
And we would go for Chargers games and, to cover the Chargers, and those fans would still get out there.
Let me play my.
In those buses, how they have those buses that they turn into tailgate little things.
Let me play my world's smallest violin. I need money.
Not.
Sorry about it,
Just
buddy.
something about the Browns. Okay.
There's
fine,
something about the Browns,
Fine.
but not this thing.
Yeah. Not
right.
taking them to the Super Bowl.
Let's take a break. We come back. San Diego FC about to name their first manager in club history. How about that story when we come back?
Oh, wow.
On the Fan. 12:50 is the time. Want to remind you that baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile and you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how. Go to T-Mobile.com/switch. Normally we play silly games right here. We went a little bit long on our NFL Eliminator and did not want to nuke the clock by playing one of our longer games, the match game right here. So we will do that at 1 o'clock, which means we will be looking for a contestant momentarily. Momentarily, we will open up the phone lines and get you in. So stay tuned for that. Quick grab bag here. And I saw this story this morning, Annie, and I just wanted to read it just to get to this one quote so that we can all get a little ticked off. Woo! So, as you know, we were happy yesterday because the Mets beat the Diamondbacks. The way the Mets beat the Diamondbacks is they built an 8-0 lead, and they cruised behind the strong left arm of Sean Manaea, who punched out 11 and didn't even wobble a little bit until the 7th inning when he gave up a couple of homers, and then they finally took him out of the game.
Having a nice season.
Yeah, 11 strikeouts, retired the Diamondbacks in order 4 times, didn't face a single batter with a runner in scoring position over the course of the game. And if you wondered what turned things around for Sean Manaea, a story this morning in The Athletic lays it out. And it was literally him watching his team play Atlanta. He was watching from the dugout on July 25th as the Mets took on Chris Sale and the Braves. And Manaea's there watching Sale carve up the Mets, watching Sale's arm angle and release point and how his pitches moved. And he said, I think I can take something from this and make it my own. And that's what he did. Reading from the article in The Athletic that was written by Tim Britton, said, first, Manaea dropped his release point to look more like Sale. He has the athleticism to make that kind of change midseason, and it's made his delivery quicker and more deceptive with a more pronounced motion across his body. Second, he simplified his repertoire, ditching his cutter and his harder slider, limiting his changeup, and leaning heavily on his sweeper and his 2- and 4-seam fastballs. The fastballs in particular have played up with the new delivery, and the sweeper has remained effective even while being used almost twice as frequently. Now he's started mixing in his changeup. He's thrown 43 changeups in 3 starts since. Manaea said, quote, I feel like if I'm throwing it like my fastball, meaning his changeup, it's just going to take off arm side. I have to throw it glove side pretty hard, which is foreign concept to me. Trying to throw into a righty is something way different than I'm used to. But once I figured that out, it's just building off each outing. A lot of teams are stacking right-handers against me, having that one pitch that looks like my fastball and dies. Yeah. It makes my fastball that much better. Okay, so all this great stuff about Sean Manaea, which leads me to this quote from Mets pitching coach Jeremy Hefner. Sean works extremely hard and is extremely curious. He's been a successful major league player, but how can we help him take this next step? That's not what he said about his time with us. That he was extremely hard working and extremely curious. That's not what he said with us. He said that he drifted, his attention drifted, and that he wasn't paying attention when some other starter started, and he looked at it and went, oh, I could do that, and then all of a sudden he becomes Chris Sale Part 2 himself. Sean Manaea seemed like a really good guy, and I really, really wanted to root for him while he was here, and I did root for him. I rooted for him all the time. I went to an inordinate number of his starts in 2022, not by choice, but you know how that works out, where you go to a game and it's just like every time you go, that starter happens to be on the mound. For me, it was Sean Manaea, and I always thought he could be a little better than he was, and it's because he could be a little better than he was. And dang it.
No, I think we kind of talked about it a little last year, like, he was human, made some honest admissions about what happened, and then to his credit, I mean, of course, we wish it would have happened with the Padres, but to his credit, made some changes.
He did.
I love those stories where you learn from another guy. Like, that's a cool part of baseball.
I mean, just think about that. He was just watching in the dugout. He's like, wait a second, I could do that.
Yeah, this works for him well.
Yeah, what if I, boop, boop, boop? Oh, I'm Chris Sale all of a sudden. Holy cow. All right, we play the match game next. 833-288-0973. Give us a call. Hour number 4 of the show. Welcome back, everybody. Annie and Elsten here with you. Your midday hang on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Annie Heilbrunn is here. I'm Craig Elsten. Braden Suprenant alongside in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. Just the three of us for the match game right now. Adam Klug sends his regards. He's on a Zoom meeting that starts at 1. So... on the red, Greg sends his regards. He had to leave a little early today. Scrabes is in the other room. The recording light's on. Can't talk to him.
Working,
grinding.
Working 9 to...
The rest of the building is empty. So
More times than not. Which is surprising.
What if we
Today's
just went
Wednesday.
down to like there's like a courtyard and we're like,
hey, come on up.
Yeah.
Want to play the match game? No,
You
we're
look
not
like a
going to do that.
celebrity.
They're like, who are you?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, well-
right, you look like a celebrity. Tell us a little about yourself.
That's right.
So like, what just happened? Just trying to enjoy my
I'm
sandwich.
trying to eat this salad
Right.
You
here.
at the local deli.
There's these guys.
Can we quickly say that the Cubs came back against the Pirates?
Yes.
And it's a what, 11-10, Braden?
11-10.
Yes.
It was 3-1 Cubs, then it was 10-3 Pirates.
10-3 Pirates.
And
Cubs
then,
still
yeah.
threatening in the top
And then
half
the
of
Guardians went past, came back against the Royals,
Yep.
right?
Rallied in the bottom of the
Yeah.
8th to take a 7-5 lead, and now Clase is trying to close it for Cleveland. And if the Guardians win, then despite all the hard work of Kansas City this week, they will leave a game back in the AL Central, and the Guardians will be back in front.
12-10 Cubs.
And if the so 12-10 Cubs, and if the Cubs hold on to this, then the Taylor Swift candle stays lit.
Hey,
Yes.
Could
Cubs.
also be
Craig Counsell continues to burn it. Yes.
5 games back, right?
yes,
And
they'd
they
be
could
5 games
potentially
back.
be 4.5 back if the Braves lose to the Twins today.
What if? Easiest schedule remaining.
Easiest schedule remaining. The lovable losers are winning.
Yeah, and they play the Pirates again, and the Pirates right now are just a win factory.
They're a mess.
They really are.
Just show up and collect your dubs
Yep.
right now.
And they're not raising the Jolly Roger too many times right now.
No, you do not have to clear the deck.
No,
the
not
cannonball,
allowed clearing the deck.
not coming. All right, here's what's coming. It's time to play the match game. We had to push our silly game forward, and even though we just have the three of us, it's still time to get ready to match the stars. Annie Heilbrunn,
Hello.
Braden Suprenant,
What's up?
and I'm your host, Gene Rayburn, on Match Game 97.3, the game of silly questions and sillier answers. We have two. Well, who are our two contestants today?
That
Braden?
would be Corey and Encinitas.
Hello, Corey.
Hi, Corey. Welcome to the match game.
Hello. Thank you. Hello, Braden, Annie, and Elsten. Happy hump day.
Great to have you on the show, Corey. Before we play the game, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Here in California, big Cardinals fan, disappointed the last couple days, but we'll cheer for the Padres in the playoffs. I don't think we're in that lane anymore.
Well, you know what, Corey? I'm kind of hoping now. I don't know who your contestant is yet, but I'm kind of hoping you get the win because I'm kind of hoping it's the only win you get all week. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. If they're going to beat us, you might as well sweep us. Get the division, beat the Dodgers.
I like your thinking. All right, Braden, who's Corey taking on?
Corey is taking on Wyatt in Temecula. Wyatt, what's going on?
Hello, Wyatt.
Welcome, Wyatt.
What's going on, guys?
Now tell us a little bit about yourself, buddy.
It's the second time calling in, second time on the show, so it's pretty good.
Did you play match game
And,
last time? What did you play?
No, we played the millennial
Oh,
the
yeah.
question
Mind the
about
Gap.
Mind the Gap. Okay.
Mind the
Wyatt.
Gap, that
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Well, Wyatt, you got a better chance today because you don't have to take on me. You just have to
Well,
take on Corey.
I qualified last time.
He did.
Wow.
He did.
Dang
That was
it. He beat
he
you.
actually had the best Mind the Gap performance out of any contestant.
Well, now I'm really rooting for Corey.
Yes.
Corey and Wyatt.
Nothing like having our host be biased in his questions.
No, that's okay. The questions are pre-written. Don't worry. I'm rooting for you both equally. Okay, guys, it's time to play the match game. The match game is very simple. Here's how it works. It'll be played in 2 rounds. You will each get 1 question per round. You'll get to the first contestant will get to pick A or B. I'll read the question. You will stand silently as the music plays and the panelists write their best answer to the prompt. Then I'll come back to you. It'll be your turn to give your answer, and we'll go around the panel and see how many matches you get. Whoever gets the most matches at the end of 2 rounds is the winner, and that winner will be qualified for our end of the month grand prize drawing, a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas, 2 tickets to see Carrie Underwood Reflection at Resorts World Theater. Carrie Underwood has returned to Las Vegas with her critically acclaimed production Reflection, now extended through 2025 at Resorts World Theater. Tickets for performances are on sale now at AXS.com and RWLasVegas.com. Okay, Corey, you are contestant 1 because you called in first. So in round 1, Corey, you get the choice. Would you like question A or question B? Oh, we need to put Corey back on the air.
There you go.
Corey, question A or question B?
B.
B it is. B it is.
Yep. Sorry.
Very good. All right, here we go. Round 1, question B. Corey, stay silent. Panelists, lock in. Here we go. Middling miles is so Oh, hang on. Before we begin, a quick reminder that all contestants, all characters in match game questions are 100% fictional and bear no resemblance to anybody living or dead. Any such resemblance is 100% coincidental.
Got that out of the way?
Okay. Whew. Middling miles is so mid.
How mid is he? So mid.
He's so mid.
Mid.
He's so mid when he orders a Big Mac, he only wants the blank. Middling miles is so mid when he orders a Big Mac, he only wants the blank.
I'm locked.
I'm locked too.
Locked.
We've got our answers. So, Corey, now we return for your answer. Middling miles is so mid when he orders a Big Mac, he only wants the
half bun in the middle.
middle
The
bun.
middle bun.
He only wants the middle bun. Annie?
I said the cheese.
The cheese. Okay. All right. Okay.
Sorry, Corey.
I said the middle bun.
Okay, good. There you go.
That's a match. And I said
The middle bun.
I don't eat Big Macs. I don't know that there's a middle bun.
Yeah,
okay?
it's the weird thing about Big Macs.
Okay.
It has
they have
three
the
three
bun's cut into
buns.
3.
There's the top
Probably
bun, the bottom
delicious.
bun, and then the middle bun, which has no purpose other than just to add bread.
But more bread,
Just
more carbs.
more bread
yeah.
in a burger. Let's enjoy more bread.
Probably excellent.
2 burger patties, but only 1 slice of cheese, which is the weird thing.
But
That
is the
is-
cheese in the middle?
It's at the bottom
No,
of the
it's
burger.
at the bottom,
What?
below the special sauce.
That's where the upside down cake toppings are.
Fine.
Hey,
fine,
2
fine.
matches for you, Corey. In the first round, that's a formidable task.
It's pretty good. Shot.
But Wyatt, it's your turn now. Here comes question A. So you stay quiet, and panelists, here we go. Mighty Manny is on a roll. He's so hot right now, when he gets in the hot tub blanks. Mighty Manny is on a roll. He's so hot right now, when he gets in the hot tub blanks. Nope, that's wrong. Answering my own question wrong. Okay,
Come on, lock in, Craig.
I'm locked in. I got it. Answer locked.
I'm locked in.
Okay, locked in.
Back to you, Wyatt. Mighty Manny is on a roll. He's so hot right now, when he gets in the hot tub evaporates. I'll take any heat-related scientific answer here. Annie?
I said turns to fire.
Turns to fire. No, that's
I
not.
don't think that
That's
counts.
close. That's close, but that's not it.
I put evaporates.
Evaporates.
Okie dokie.
Okay, and
Bang.
I put
Turns
boils, and when something boils, what happens to the water?
evaporates.
It evaporates. We're 2-2. This is the most successful first round ever.
It's true.
Have we ever had 4 matches in the first round? Never. Here we go, round 2. Wyatt, because you were contestant number 2, you get the option in round 2. Would you like question A or question B?
Let's stick with B.
Sticking with B. Here we go. Old Lefty Rich is so old.
How old is he?
He's so old, when his new team asked for his contact info, he sent them his blank. Old Lefty Rich is so old, when his team asked for his contact info, he sent them his blank. All right, I got an answer.
Okay.
I'm locked in.
All right, we're all locked in. Wyatt, We turn back to you in this 2-2 tie. Old Lefty Rich is so old. When his new team asked him for contact info, he sent them his
carrier pigeon.
his carrier.
So good.
That's pretty good.
That's a good answer, Wyatt.
I said LinkedIn profile because it's on the way out. Okay,
It's pretty
man?
old. It's pretty old. I agree.
I went older than that. I went Civil War. I went Telegraph.
Oh, I love
It's
it.
Telegram.
It's Telegraph.
Oh, and I went in between. I just said he sent them his landline.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like,
It's also
give me a call. Now, listen, the phone is by the refrigerator, so sometimes I don't answer right away because it's 5:30 and Mama's got to get her snack. But
Leave a message on the answering machine.
when
That's
my
literally
when my
it's
kids playing
connected to the
Oregon
phone.
my kids playing Oregon Trail, I can't access the phone.
well, that was a really good answer, Wyatt. Unfortunately, it was not a match. So, Corey, that opens the door to you. If you get one right, you will be the winner of this match game. Panelists, here we go. Cardinals fans are the best in baseball, so they say.
Are they really?
they do. So they say.
They are so good.
How good are they?
When the other team kicks their butt, they give them blank.
Oh.
Every once in a while, we're mean to the teams we play, Corey. We had no idea you would be here. We had no idea you'd be here today. But the question is, once again, as our panelists write their answer, Cardinals fans are the best in baseball, so they say. They're so good, when the other team kicks their butt, they give them blank. I feel like you're going to get a match here, Corey. But Annie, got yours?
Yeah.
Braden, got yours?
Yeah.
All right, Wyatt. Pardon me. You stay there, Wyatt. Corey, it's your turn. Cardinals fans are the best in baseball, so they say. They're so good, when the other team kicks their butt, they give them
Their baseball card.
their baseball
No.
card.
Yes. That could be a good thing to give them. Like,
Yeah. But,
hey, man, remember me in this way.
okay.
I said standing O.
Standing O.
Because
that's the correct answer.
I put keys to the city of St. Louis.
That's perfect. I put a standing ovation as well. Standing
they
O.
give it to Ski.
See, my dream, and this is actually, Corey, we said this on
But Corey,
yesterday's
how
show.
could you? It's
Yeah.
so random, man.
We said this on yesterday's show, Corey, that we were really rooting for Manny to set the Padres' all-time home run record in St. Louis because we thought the Cardinals fans would probably give him a standing ovation.
I mean, Corey doesn't seem like he's one of them.
No,
even though he likes the Cardinals.
I think he's one of the best
Well,
fans in
yeah.
baseball.
Very
Yeah,
much
that,
a
but like,
St. Louis Cardinals of 2024 performance right there.
We've
by
reached
Corey.
the tiebreaker, gang. We've reached the tiebreaker, and because we are not up against the clock, we're doing the tiebreaker. All right, this is very simple. It's a one-word match. I'm going to give you a name.
Cubs up 14-10, by the way.
Yes.
2 outs.
All right, Corey, you get to
Nice.
go first. Corey, give me or panelists. Corey, stand there waiting. Give me your best answer to this. Paul blank. Paul blank.
It's the first one that came to mind.
Locked.
Got it.
Good. Locked?
Mm-hmm.
Locked. Corey, Paul blank.
Goldschmidt.
It's a
Goldschmidt.
great answer.
Great
The
answer.
answer I should have done. I said Paul Revere.
Paul Revere is good.
I put Paul DeYoung,
Who's that?
Ooh, I was thinking that.
St. Louis Cardinals of the past.
Oh, Paul DeYoung.
Paul
A couple
DeYoung.
years ago.
Look at this. Goldie.
Nice.
Good job.
That's one. You need 2 to win, Wyatt. Panelists, give me your best answer to this. Blank Lewis. Blank Lewis.
Done.
Got mine.
I mean, I got mine, but it's
Not your favorite person?
not. It's too easy. It's too.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, about to find out.
Wyatt, give me your best answer to blank Lewis.
He just hung up, so he quits.
Oh
Corey's
my
the winner.
God, he's the winner. Okay, I had Saint. What did you have?
I had Carl Lewis.
Oh, okay.
I had guest for Friday, Sean Lewis.
Oh,
Hey!
yes,
Three
Huh?
chances to win.
Little tease
Guest
there.
for Friday, Sean Lewis.
Aztec
Fast.
Let's go.
Ball game on Saturday.
Looking
5
forward to
o'clock.
it. So wait, who is our winner?
Corey is our
Corey,
winner.
Congratulations. Wyatt, I don't know. Maybe Wyatt was like, had to go. Maybe he was in
Yeah.
the drive-through. Maybe
You
He
know,
had a
Corey,
meeting.
sometimes the key is just stick-to-itiveness. Sometimes
right.
it's just
You
hanging
just
on the
got to
line.
post,
You
right?
know what? Wyatt could be a Pirates fan and just got upset because as soon as the game went final, he hung up.
That's amazing.
It's over.
Well, so is this game. Corey, stay right there. Braden will get your information during the break. And we have no show tomorrow, but Friday we will play Fast Money to wrap up the week, and that'll be our last chance for a qualifier for the Resorts World gift package. Looking forward to it.
They scored 11 unanswered runs.
Telling you, these Cubs.
Easiest schedule.
For the first time all year, I now believe the Cubs could get back
Remember
into it.
when we were
100%.
saying before the All-Star break?
Yes.
They were kind of still a dangerous
Yes.
team, and then they
It's a good pitching
went
staff.
downhill. Right. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy for them, but you can't totally count them out.
Also, Paul Skeens went 5 innings and gave up 3 runs.
That's true. I mean, and
This-
you're right. Like anyone playing the Pirates right now, it's
Yeah.
it's not a for sure win, but it's a good chance of winning.
It really is. Like even on Skeens Day, it's like, well, he'll probably give up 2 or 3. He's only going to go 5, and then you can just get to their weak bullpen and rack them around.
How demoralizing that you're up 10-3 and your starting pitcher goes out there, gives you good performance.
Yep.
Your offense does what it needs to do.
Done.
Bullpen tried, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
just didn't have
Cubs
it.
are now 5 games behind Atlanta, 2 games behind New York. And they have now passed the San Francisco Giants in the standings.
It's going to be interesting because Atlanta's doing well too. I mean, Atlanta's doing better with all their injuries,
Yeah.
and they don't have. Actually, I don't know how hard their schedule is.
It's on the sheet.
I know, but
It's not as difficult as
Right.
others.
Not
And
as.
Atlanta's now only 6 games back of Philly.
Atlanta's got 4 at Philly this weekend. So
That'll be fun.
that's a huge series starting
Atlanta's
tomorrow.
at Philly. Oh, that's
Yeah.
gonna be tough.
Or it could be starting Friday going to
Yeah.
Monday. I'm not sure. But then they host the Rockies. They host the Blue Jays. They go to the Nationals. They do have the Dodgers for 4,
Mm-hmm.
but it's at Truist Park. Then they go to Cincy. They go to Miami.
They got to play Cincinnati 4 times because they do have a makeup against them as well.
And they have they wrap up the year at home against the Mets, a team that that could really matter,
Right.
that series. And then the Royals. And the Royals could be right in it.
That's Atlanta.
To the end.
You're
Yeah,
talking
that's
about?
Atlanta.
Yeah, that's
So-
kind of tough.
Well, the last week is tough.
Right.
But in between there, they've really got a great chance.
Mm-hmm.
So, bottom line, it's the same as it is for everyone. Like, if the teams in position keep winning, all these other teams, it doesn't matter what they
Yeah.
do. It doesn't matter.
And
The-
it's kind of timing too, right? Like, are you just hitting them on a weird week? Because for even all these teams that are winning, sometimes there's just a weird clunker week
Yeah.
or a few games, I guess.
But if Atlanta can stay 13, 14, 15 games over 500, it doesn't matter. The
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cubs have to win almost every game the rest
And
of the
bank
year.
on the other guys, right?
Yeah.
Bank on Atlanta.
Yeah, and it's the same for the Giants. Giants are there, but they'd have to do something they haven't done all year, which is go on a crazy winning streak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just haven't done it all year long.
You know who's done it?
The Padres,
And yeah, the Padres, the Diamondbacks,
Diamondbacks, yep,
Good job.
Royals.
The Dodgers.
the Royals, the
Yeah.
Dodgers.
When we come back, we set up today's third game between the Padres and the Cardinals and get you all locked in on your game preview. That is next. Annie and Elsten continue until 2 o'clock on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. So while you're listening, you can see what you missed and click to listen on demand. So if you missed the match game today, we've got you covered. Download the free Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, and tap earlier today to get started. And in Elsten, back with you. I threw a tease 2 segments ago and then completely failed to cash it in, which is just irritates me. So let me just say this, just in case there's 1.5 people out there that were like, what did you say about San Diego FC? According to Tom Bogert, and he writes for GiveMeSport.com. So,
Wow.
Okay, all right. Take it for what it is. But according to that source, San Diego FC is finalizing a deal to name former United States under-20 national team head coach Mikey Varas as the first manager in club history. The deal, according to this reporter, is not 100% done, but if all goes smoothly in the final stages, Varas will be San Diego's first manager. According to a source, the plan is for Varas to be the interim manager for the senior U.S. national team for friendlies in September, confirming an initial report by The Athletic. He was most recently an assistant on Greg Berhalter's staff at the Copa America this summer. Varas, previously manager of the under-20 national team, winning the 2022 CONCACAF Championship. That tournament served as a qualification for the Olympics, marking the first time the U.S. qualified for that tournament since 2008. He also led the U.S. to the quarterfinals at the 2023 FIFA Under-20 World Cup. So, according to this report, Mikey Varas will become the first manager of San Diego FC as long as nothing happens to have the deal get scuttled right before the finish line.
Do you have any opinions either way on Varas?
No, I'd never really heard of him, but that just betrays my ignorance of U.S. men's national under-20 teams. You know, that I haven't spent a lot of time watching the structure that builds the U.S. men's national team, but I would say that you're getting somebody who's young, that you're getting somebody who comes out of the national team structure. And when you think about Tyler Heaps, who's only 33 years old himself, the sporting director, how analytical he is, that now and how he contributed to U.S. football from an analytics standpoint, now you're getting somebody who has contributed from the youth standpoint. And the second thing I would say about that, Annie, is he's a under-20 national team head coach. You're talking about a team that is built on the Right to Dream Academy. So it's a team that's built on the idea of young players coming through a pipeline and developing and becoming a big part of San Diego FC. So therefore, you've got somebody who's got a lot of experience in developing young players.
Makes sense. The puzzle pieces would fit together, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Their strategy.
So we'll wait for the official report. But that's the word now. GiveMeSport.com. Should I click on the banner and see what else they're reporting? Yeah, it's a big soccer website.
I just like the name of it.
Give me sport.
Give me sport. Now.
Or give you what?
Yeah.
Give me sport.
Give me sport or give me death.
Yes.
Wow.
Well,
Seems extreme, but some people really love sports.
they do.
It's true.
They would like you to give it to them. I like it.
All right.
Well, that's cool. Hey, that's a little breaking news from Give Me Sport.
Give Me
and
Sport.
if it, like you said, if it all works out, and I think that that's been a much anticipated.
Yes.
Hey, who's going to be their manager,
Yeah.
right? So definitely, they're putting the team together, right, as they head toward playing their first full season next year.
Yeah. Now, I mean, is that the kind of name that's going to sell tickets? No, because I mean, who would? Like, if you got a Mexican team national coach, or if you got somebody who coached an EPL team, you know, maybe a major. I'll tell you, the name I had heard rumored was Bob Bradley, who was formerly the head coach at LAFC, Toronto FC, former national team head coach. But maybe his style might be, you know, he's a little bit older, in his 50s, maybe early 60s. You know, maybe that they're looking for something so much
Youth.
younger. Yeah. You know, something that's new and fresh and can grow together. So I think, just, you know, kind of talking it out with you in real time, I think I probably like this a little bit more, because while someone like Bradley would be a very stable, like, okay, We get it. Bob Bradley, we know. We've watched Bob Bradley teams. We know how they play. There's going to be the fundamentals there.
Not to be confused with Bob Brentley.
Not to be no,
Bob Bradley.
No, Bob Brentley, who thinks Ben Davis is a young catcher with a lot to learn.
Doesn't like chains.
Doesn't like swag chains. Doesn't like, different guy. Different guy.
Okay.
Completely different guy. But yeah, so very interesting. And I think that's the third most anticipated thing for San Diego FC. Second most anticipated being what's the new kit? Can we see the uniform?
When does that come out?
Soon,
when does that debut?
Soon enough.
When is the reveal?
Well, all I can say to that is that looking at San Diego FC's socials, which of course has nothing on this reported hire because it's not done
It's not
yet.
official.
They've got become a founding member today to win priority access to purchase our inaugural jersey. So they're trading off the jersey, but we don't know what it is. All we know is that it's Adidas. That's all we know.
Their colors are out, aren't they?
Yeah, the dark blue,
Yeah.
the navy blue, and the chrome.
Yes, the
or
chrome.
silver.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then there's like some reds and some oranges in the crest itself. But there's a lot of question. Is it just going to be a drab navy blue kit with 3 silver stripes for Adidas on the corner and the crest? Like, I think a lot of people are kind of anticipating it's just going to be that, but maybe it'll be better than that. We're done with soccer talk, Todd. You can stay right here. That was the news of the day. Let's get back to the Padres game preview. Padres and St. Louis Cardinals, Game 3, and that means it's Joe Musgrove's turn. And Joe Musgrove coming off one of his best starts as a Padre.
Yeah.
Never mind best starts of the year. One of his best starts ever. 7 innings, 1 hit.
1 hit.
No walks.
Totally dominated. Had that look in his eye.
75 pitches?
Yeah, 75 pitches, saved the bullpen, never really was in any kind of trouble, really wasn't taxed much. Debuted or continued to use, he continues to refine it, his gyro slider that he's been working on, that he's taking a little bit of from Dylan Cease and making his own. And just completely had one of those Joe Musgrove starts where the Mets hitters a day after scoring a ton of, I forget what they scored on Thursday, but they hit a lot on Thursday.
Yeah.
They just were sent back to the dugout one by one, couldn't figure him out.
I am so impressed with what we've seen from Joe since his comeback. And I think it was very fair for everybody to have questions. Why wouldn't you have questions? The guy's been dealing with elbow pain for 2 seasons now. At the beginning of the year, he gave up 10 homers in 6 starts. He was getting racked around pretty good. And then he came back and he pitched well and then got hurt and then pitched well and then got hurt. So even after he had that first good start, I was kind of holding out, saying, okay, second start, what are we going to get? And then when that second start was pretty good, it's like, okay, well, but how about now? Tough opponent, third start, how you hanging in? It's just gotten better and better and better. And now I think it allows us all to dream about a full strength, full speed Joe Musgrove starting Game 2 of a playoff series.
I would think so. I mean, he's up there. He's up there in who you want to take the mound in the playoffs. And I don't know exactly the order yet, but you definitely want him to be one of your aces out there, right? I mean, he's got the experience too. You feel like Joe understands the situation and also how to get the most out of his body, give his team the best chance to win in that situation. Not that the other guys don't, but we just saw it when the Padres were in the playoffs 2 years ago, right? But opposing Andre Palante, who has been, I think, a pretty good pitcher for the Cardinals. UC Irvine product. He's got a 1.83 ERA over his last 3 starts. He had back-to-back 7-inning wins over the Dodgers and the Twins. He threw 7 2/3 innings of 2-run ball over 5 relief appearances against the Padres. So he was coming from the bullpen, now in the rotation. But again, it's he's had some good numbers, but the Padres are also hitting pretty well these days. So should be a good matchup.
I mean, really, as I'm just going through his game log, pretty darn solid. It's you have to go back to
a young guy for them.
Yeah, you have to go back to a Mets start at the beginning of the month where he gave up 5 runs in 4 2/3. After that, 5 2/3, 1 run, 7 innings, 2 runs, 7 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 1 run, 7 innings, 1 run, 6 1/3, 4 runs, 5 1/3 shutout. He's been good more often than not. for the Cardinals this year. He's really only gotten knocked around in 3 starts this season, and then he had 2 pretty average / clunker type starts. But other than that, dude's been locked in. That's 9 out of 14 starts that he was really good.
And the other thing too about Joe Musgrove that, you're right. He 75 pitches last time. He'll get another probably 10 to 15 today, assuming that conditions are fine and he doesn't have to get into too stressful of innings. With the heat, who knows? Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're watching a few different things. But so what? I mean, he could, if he has a good start, essentially go 6 or 7 again, and depending on how efficient he is.
Well, these games, like St. Louis, let's be honest, St. Louis is out of it, okay? But for the Cardinals, if they haven't given up the ghost inside their locker room, this is their season today. Like, losing this series to the Padres, their path gets really thin for them to go forward. They need to win today to get the ball to Sonny Gray tomorrow to get a chance to salvage the split. And then at the very least, that's still a loss for St. Louis. I'll say the same thing I said last week for the Mets. You have to win this series, and that they already can't do that.
You're trying to gain ground, and you can't.
Yeah.
But you can lose a lot more ground if you lose these next 2 games.
Right. They either lose 2 or 4 games to the standings if they lose any one of their next. But if they win the next 2, then they stay even with San Diego. So these are must-win games for the St. Louis Cardinals. I would expect their absolute best. Now, the fact that they're going to try and do this must-win in front of 11,000, 12,000 fans again today.
In what looked like, I saw today, maybe 96-degree heat, so you're looking at the same kind of humidity, but I think a little cloud cover. So maybe a little help. I don't know.
Maybe 2 degrees cooler,
Maybe
but 2 degrees more humid. So
right,
probably feels the same on the
you're
net.
not getting much of a break, right?
Yeah. The fans are like praying for a thunderstorm. Just like, cool us off, please. Just a thunderstorm for an hour.
Did you see the corn thing? Did you see that?
Yes. Okay, if you didn't read Kevin Acey's newsletter, which, by the way, it's free and I would highly recommend it. But apparently it's so hot. Did you see this, Braden? It's so hot.
How hot is it?
It's so hot that the corn is blanking.
It's transpiring. It's called transpiration.
Yeah.
The corn is sweating.
It's sweating.
And adding to the humidity.
Sweaty corn.
These are not hashtag San Diego problems. These are hashtag St. Louis problems, where the corn sweats.
Who's even growing corn in San Diego County?
And there's like enough corn to make a difference in their humidity. I have so many questions about that. Then what happens? Like, does the corn dry? Like,
right, because if it's
can
sweated,
you use it? Like,
if it's sweated, it lost water.
Yes.
Do you have to water the corn more to?
I don't know. Is there a smell of corn in the air? Like, I don't know.
Sweaty corn?
Sweaty corn.
What does sweaty corn smell like?
The name of your new band. I've seen some sweaty corn.
Thank you, Wichita.
So
we are Corn Sweat.
Who would ever think? But it affects their atmosphere. So, anyways, makes it a little more humid, and like I said, the UT also reported. I think it was Kevin that reported that they have a heat warning. They're telling people stay inside, don't go outside, don't bring your pets outside. It's that hot, it's that humid, So, I don't expect very many fans there today.
Well, if they're smart, they'll stay home, and of course, they're the smartest and best fans in baseball. So
They are. That's right. They pride themselves on being smart. Is Kim eligible to come back tomorrow? I believe yes.
But probably not. However, he's with the team.
He is.
He
was throwing
returned to
a
the
little.
team.
Yeah. He returned to the team and he was like getting.
He's fielding ground balls and then dropping it to his side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tevin in the chat says California transplant to the Midwest. Crops get watered by the rain out here. There's not that much irrigation in a decent amount of the Midwest. Okay.
Okay. By the way, thunderstorms are possible in the St. Louis area.
Now, I thought tomorrow, or is that today?
Well, it just says possible.
Okay.
It doesn't look very bad. I'm looking at the weather map right now. It looks like literally people are like, oh, please, just rain for 20 minutes. Cool us off.
Cool us off, right.
Just cool us off a little bit. Thinking about the bullpen today for San Diego, you have to know that Tanner Scott's down. I mean,
I would think so.
right?
I'm going to ask him some questions if Tanner Scott takes it. I can't rule it out with Mike Shildt because I don't think is Tanner Scott ever really off the board. But
Right.
you would think that it would be the responsible thing to do.
Yeah, because if I don't care about his health in 2025, I do care about his health the next 2 months.
Yeah, you don't want to just completely throw the player under,
Yeah.
you know.
And then look back in a month
The
and go,
bus
"Oh
here.
God,
Yeah.
he was exhausted. Oh, should we have pitched him 8 times in a row in the 100-degree heat? Was that a mistake?"
But in using Tanner Scott, they used Robert Suarez the night before, right?
Right.
Like you've got Robert Suarez is probably available.
I would say Suarez is an inning available today because they can totally use him coming off an off day, but then he will have pitched 3 out of 4.
That's true. That's true.
So at that point now you're thinking about the next day as a maybe off.
And you still don't have an off day until Tuesday, remember?
Right.
So
Right. I would believe today the victory formula would be Morahone, Adam, Suarez.
So Merrill pitched about 28 pitches, I think, the other day, but he
On
should
Monday.
be okay
Yeah.
today, right, to go back out. Adam Suarez, okay.
Yeah. I
Who
mean,
hasn't pitched for them in a while? They've all been kind of pitching.
well,
right?
they've all
Estrada
been, yeah,
pitched.
because Estrada pitched yesterday,
Right.
Hoeing pitched yesterday,
Matsui pitched.
Matsui got the win. He pitched
Okay.
yesterday.
Yeah, I would think you're right. Yep.
That's probably the guys. I think that Reynolds,
Sean Reynolds.
would be available, and I think Hoeing would, who only went 2/3 yesterday,
Yeah.
would be available if they needed him.
Yeah.
If they need him, Reynolds they're going to hold in case something goes wrong with Joe. You know, because
Some extra innings.
exactly
Right.
like maybe need a 2-inning outing or something like that. You've got to account for the heat today when you're talking about this game because somebody's going to melt down. Like either Palante's going to melt down or Joe's going to melt down. Something's going to happen. It's inevitable.
I also wonder, I just think about, like, listen, these are top tier athletes and they're probably getting the best of care in the clubhouse. And probably, I see out in the clubhouse, in the Padres clubhouse, they've got IVs all the time. They're, getting extra nutrients and whatever you need or to get through this hydration. But at the same time, you got to think now you're in day 3 of this, right? Like it probably has a cumulative effect at some point.
Absolutely.
But for both teams. So, I would think that you got to kind of have an all hands on deck and prepare for any kind of scenario to happen.
It's a no surprises lineup. The lineup is out. There's literally one change, which is that Arise is DHing and Cronenworth is playing first.
Arise is DHing, Cronenworth is playing first, and Cronenworth DH yesterday, right? Yeah.
So that's literally it. Arise, Profar, Cronenworth, Machado, Bogarts, Merrill, Peralta, Higashioka, instead of Camposano, Higashioka, and McCoy. And that's your lineup. And why wouldn't it be your lineup right now? I mean, Mason McCoy,
doing great.
listen, if nothing else, the kid has earned himself a spring training invite to another team next year. And I'm not saying it wouldn't be this year, but
if there's no path to him being on the Padres long term,
they
right?
may have to DFA him just to put Tatis back on the roster.
But I was thinking about that today, like this morning. What a resume he's given himself a little bit. Like you're right. I mean, he's given what the team needs, and it's not always a hit; it's the walk. He's taken good ABs, been good on defense. Can we just say Wyatt showed back up in the chat here from Match Game? He said he had an important call and couldn't finish it out.
Oh no,
Thanks for letting
Wyatt.
us know, Wyatt. You did
Thank
lose,
you, Wyatt.
but thanks.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the concession you had to make. It was an important call. It was important enough to lose the match game.
It's important enough that you just hang up,
Important
but we
enough to lose
appreciate
the
you
match
playing,
game.
Wyatt.
Yes, absolutely. Pods fan in the chat says that you can buy a lower level field level ticket at Busch Stadium for $2.
Crazy. I mean, again, I think it's like, the Heat, I do think you got to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt of the Heat and the Heat advisories that they're telling their citizens that live in the, St. Louis. But at the same time, a August-September game in St. Louis where this team was always in on a playoff push or had already locked up the playoffs to this point, it's crazy to see those numbers.
Last thing I wanted to say before we take our last break and open up the lines for Ask Us Anything. Higgy back in the lineup today. Elias Diaz made his AAA debut last night, picked up a double. And I thought, he had an RBI single, which was a really important hit in the game. But I thought Luis Camposano yesterday played the kind of game that leads you to be replaced by Elias Diaz on the roster 3 times, and all of them were rated a wild pitch. but 3 times there was a runner advancement on just a pitch being thrown yesterday. And one of those I would really put on Dillon, but 2 of them I would put on Campusano. One I thought was clearly a pass ball that got ruled a wild pitch, a high fastball that just went off the glove of Luis Campusano. And listen, I've been a big backer of Luis Campusano all year long, but you just can't have that defense in the playoffs. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what they're looking at too. Is you can't cost a run. You know, it's one thing if you're not able to maybe get the at bat that you're hoping for, or whatever. But you can't. One thing that they're not going to suffer, especially under Mike Shildt, and we heard that this week really, is the fundamentals. You've got to be able to play clean fundamentals. I hope the best for Luis Campusano. I really believe that he works hard. I think that he is trying to make all those adjustments. Just struggling a little bit, right? So now they have Elias Diaz. I'm looking at Jeff Sanders' minor league report. He doubled in 2 runs in AAA El Paso's 11-1 win over on Tuesday over Tacoma. So for whatever that's worth. So he's settling into his new Padres organization. But the other thing that I don't understand really about this is you could bring Diaz up when the rosters expand and keep them all on there. But remember, he turned down. Well, he turned down playing time with the Giants.
Yeah.
So like, if you bring him up and you don't play him, is that problematic? Like, does he not? Has he already? Yeah, he wants that, right?
I'm looking at these tea leaves, and in particular, just repeating what Annie said, there was reportedly a deal in place with San Francisco.
Where he would have been the number 2 catcher
Behind Patrick Bailey.
How much more playing time? I mean, that's a pretty good playing time.
Well, yeah, but Bailey's, they're pretty much everyday starters.
Okay, yeah.
So it'd probably be, once every 5 games.
That's true.
Whereas at least here, you're going to get 2 every 5 games if you just swapped Diaz for Campy direct.
Plus, you're almost guaranteed a playoff
That's
spot
true.
with the Padres as
Right.
opposed to battling on the outside and
Great
not
point.
making it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a great
I'll
point.
sacrifice playing time to potentially win a World Series ring.
Yeah, I think that's it
good
too.
point, Braden.
And whether it's waiting to September 1st and using one of those 2 spots, or whether it's a move that's made soon, tomorrow, Friday. I think Diaz is going to be up, and when Diaz is up, I think he and Higgy split the rest of the year. I think it's a much better defensive situation for San Diego. Diaz hits a little bit. If you got him hitting 260, 270 out of the 9 spot, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to shake a stick at there.
It's a bit of a risk in just that, like we talked about yesterday, pitch comm makes a difference, and you don't need to necessarily be like simpatico with the pitching staff, like right off the bat. Like, the pitching staff is going to help the catcher along here as well, but you also don't want there to be like any friction or any bad fit or any weird fit or any kind of just Elias Diaz having a struggle with a new organization or whatever. So there's a bit of a risk, but if they're having these conversations, there's got to be kind of what you're talking about as well. Like there's also a risk with maybe some poor defense in the playoffs, or you know what I mean? There's probably a risk in all of it.
Let's take a time out. Last time out of the show. When we come back, we'll have a quick segment of Ask Us Anything. So if you'd like to give the show a ring, lines are open right now. 833-288-0973. We'll just have a few minutes on the other side, but come correct with a question and we'll put it on the air right now. 833-288-0973, our number. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. All right, we have like literally almost no time left, but it is time to ask us anything. So Adam in Oceanside called in during the break, and I'm a man of my word. I say if you call on the break, I'm going to put you up. So here's Adam in Oceanside. You're on with Annie and Elsten. Ask us anything.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, buddy.
Doing well, thanks. All right, guys, quick question. Who is your bucket list band you want to see live, and who have you not been able to see live that you want to see live but can no longer see them live?
That's a great question. Boy, a lot of people would answer Oasis to this now that they just jumped in. I got to admit that when I was in college, I didn't exactly love Oasis. I always thought they sounded whiny.
I always wanted to see Prince live.
Oh, my God.
In one of those small settings. He would do those intimate, like, room ones. I don't know who I want to see.
That's a great call.
That's all I got.
I saw UT. I saw the Pixies. Those are two of my favorite bands. I think it'd be great to see someone who's just an incredibly skilled guitarist.
Uh-huh.
So I'll just say John Mayer. I don't know if I actually would love that concert, but that sounds what I'm saying right now. And with that, the show's over. Scrabes and Ello coming in next.
Bye.